hits that one to extend the Blazers' lead to 9, and that should ice it.
Number 1.
In L.A., Nuggets start strong right out of the gate with a 25-point first quarter.
course, as we always say, it seems like once or twice a week, Philadelphia continues to be the center of the sports world. Good morning, John Kincade. How are you doing?
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
For sometimes the right reasons, sometimes the wrong reasons.
Yeah, so A.J. Brown spoke to the media yesterday, which, again, as we always say, we appreciate when he does speak to the media. So we will play some of that audio for you coming up in a little bit. But it was a crazy day. I mean, it wasn't just A.J. Brown and what he had to address after his comments made on Twitch the other night. It was, of course, also other people needing to address his comments from the other night. And actual football talk between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, because let's face it, the Eagles' offense against the Green Bay Packers did not look good, and it can't continue that way against some other teams like this Sunday against the Detroit Lions. I've been giving you great analysis all week long, Johnny, when I've been saying you can't beat the Detroit Lions by only scoring 10 points because you're not going to keep them to 7.
That's strong analysis on your part.
It is hard-hitting analysis.
That probably took you at least 2 minutes.
This is why they have me on ESPN, man.
It works out well. Yeah, it works.
Me and Dan Orlovsky are going to be breaking down film together soon. So later on in the show, you're going to try to make me feel better about this game on Sunday because I have felt down about this game. I'm going to make you feel better. Well, I hope so. I've been down about this game since last week, right? Like I felt very, very good about the Packers game, but I was also kind of looking ahead a little bit and not feeling so great against the Lions team that is a machine sometimes offensively. We've seen them lose some games, like that game against the Minnesota Vikings at home. That was a bad loss for them. But then they come right back and score 44 points against the Commanders. As you said yesterday, the Commanders' defense is nowhere as good as the Eagles' defense. We just need to find...
Oh, no, it might be the worst in football. They have the most 20-point losses, I believe.
Yeah, that's horrible. We need to find a way to make the offense better. Now, there's something that I want to play for you early on, Johnny, because to me, this cannot be the mindset going in on Sunday. I understand that you never want to turn the football over, right? We all agree.
I think it's fair.
Turning the football over is bad.
That's more great analysis on your part. I'm impressed.
But just trying not to turn the football over can sometimes be the message that Jalen Hurts had after the Eagles beat the Rams when they had that incredible second-half comeback when he said on the sideline to Lisa Salters, we got to stop playing not to lose. And sometimes you can be a little too passive, right? Sometimes you can be a little too careful with the football. And in some games, that will work. Like the Kansas City Chiefs game earlier this year, you knew that was going to be a fist fight from the very beginning to the very end. But the Lions offense is not an offense that you can just sit back and say, hey, they'll probably only score 13 to 20 points and we'll be fine. No, you're probably going to have to go toe-to-toe with them in a different kind of fist fight, more of an offensive shootout. And so here's Nick Sirianni yesterday during his media availability. Tim McManus asked a very good question, very interesting question about his belief of always wanting to win the turnover battle and whether or not that can continue with the players that you have, right? AJ, Saquon, Dallas Goedert, right? They're not trying to be careful with Nelson Aguilar.
Correct.
Right? They're trying to be careful with some really, really freaking talented players, which is, of course, leads to a lot of the frustration from
arguably
A.J.
the best
Brown.
in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, the talent's incredible. Here's Sirianni in his response to Tim McManus.
Understanding that your approach on offense is limiting the turnovers, which is helping you guys win, is it a sustainable approach from the standpoint of all the star players that you have on offense?
I don't know, yeah.
Who are all going to obviously going to want to be featured parts. Can you sustain that over a long period of time?
Well, we've been doing a good job of taking care of it for the last 2 years, and it's been pretty sustainable so far. We just got to continue that. Like I've said to you guys, you want to be able to be explosive too, but our first and foremost is always win that turnover battle. We know that's the key for us on how we take care of the football. And that goes into every element that we have, offensively, defensively, coaching. We sure spend a lot of time on it. So we've had some success here the last 2 years playing this way, and we'll continue to try to get better and work to get better. But we're definitely not gonna sway from the turnover battle.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
When you hear Nick Sirianni say that, how would Kyle Shanahan use these same weapons? How would Sean McVay use these same weapons?
More creatively.
And do you think the Eagles' offense would be doing a hell of a lot better?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
would-
all.
I would think
when
so.
I hear Nick Sirianni talk like that, I'm getting very frustrated listening to him.
But
talk.
what Nick Sirianni will say back to you is, well, John, we're 7-2.
You do, and there is a. You know what I would compare it to? I would compare it to when I have discussions with the guy who helps me, make investments and things like that. He'll say to me, "Do you have a little side money that you can invest in something here? I got a good expertise in this. This is good." I'll never give the amount of money that I think that and every single time he's right.
Right.
And I go, "Damn, I wish I'd gone double on that."
Right.
Because I, like Nick Sirianni when it comes to money, say, well, let's just be careful. Let's be smart. Let's be careful. I'm just going to go a little.
Well, and it's worked for you. Here you are.
Yeah, but the thing
Look
is
at that fancy sweater that you're
No,
wearing
it's the
today.
idea is that 2 for 1 at Men's Warehouse. But it's like the whole idea to me is to living that way. I tend to live life with bumper guards up, like at the bowling alley, a lot of times. It's not using your best. It's not using your best. Sometimes you got to cut loose.
So there's some games where you're fine with it, right? Like, oh, we're the better team. Let's just get out of here with a
Yes,
win.
exactly.
I shouldn't use the Giants as
Well,
an
when you
example.
play
'cause
the Giants, it should be that way,
but
right?
It should be that way. But this Sunday, it can't be. No. This Sunday, you cannot go into the game against the Detroit Lions, in my opinion, with that mindset, right? Like, yeah, of course we want to have explosive plays, but we don't want to turn the football over. I get it. Like, both can be true, though. Like, you can go for explosive plays, and you can come up with more creative ways to get those explosive plays. Explosive plays is not just shots downfield, right? Explosive plays can be a slant route where you have some things disguised. Of course, the pick play, we all know about that one. There are ways to have explosive plays without just shots downfield like the 4th and 6 that you saw on Monday night against the Green Bay Packers.
It doesn't have to be reckless.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Not when you have this talent. By the way, it shouldn't be.
But it can't be overly careful. You can't just go into a game and say, hey, we have so much talent, whatever we do is going to work, because sometimes it's not going to. So I have a question for everybody at 610-632-0975, because we're right about this time last year. What week did they play the Steelers?
It was later than this.
13, I think. Week
it was
13?
later than this. It was around Thanksgiving, if not early December, I thought.
But what was it was December 15th.
Yeah.
But what was the talking point? Hey, can they turn the offense on at some point, right? And
it was the Carolina game that you were at.
Yes, which was
and
horrible.
with your pop, when it was a terrible game, and they should have lost that game.
Before that, they did beat the Baltimore Ravens, and it was very impressive, but again, not a big passing day.
Correct.
The game before that, the Rams, they relied on Saquon Barkley rushing for 200 yards, which, by the way, is not happening anytime soon. I don't see the ground game having the ground game that you saw last year.
And this was the answer to the A.J. Brown, what needs to improve? Passing.
And then you have the Steelers game, and then you have Jalen sitting down at the podium.
Smugly.
With the big chain. Dropping us, so is that what you wanted to see?
He gave the same smug response after that game that Nick Sirianni gave yesterday to Tim McManus.
Sure.
Tim McManus was not asking a gotcha question. Tim McManus wasn't. And it was this Nick Sirianni. Well, we've been winning a lot over 2 years. You know what? It could easily have said in 2023, he kept giving answers like that. Well, we were in the Super Bowl last year. We know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We're like, he got arrogant like that too. Arrogance will take you down. And nothing that's being questioned right now should be in any way offensive to this coaching
nothing's
staff.
unfair. But I wonder, do you guys believe the Eagles offense can just turn it on?
No.
I have not seen it.
No, do I believe it can be a lot? I believe Sunday night's going to be a lot better. I believe Sunday night
it has to be.
I think the offense is going to. I told you yesterday. I think it's going to have a night on Sunday.
I sure hope so.
But I think that the Lions offense will also have a night.
Yeah.
So I don't know how big a night.
And so it can't be the Eagles have one or two good drives or one or two good quarters. It's got to be a complete game. And so far, the belief of Nick Sirianni, we talk about it all the time. They're very careful with the football. I don't think you can go into this game Sunday just being overly careful. Do you believe that they can just flip the switch and say, all right, we have to change our approach a little bit? Do you believe they can do that? 610-632-0975. Now, coming up next, is it just as simple as pointing out the 7-2 record? Someone did that to us yesterday, Johnny. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
John Marks.
About the question, do you believe the Eagles can just turn it on? Because I don't believe they can just play overly careful this Sunday, right? Some games you can. I don't think you can do that against this Lions offense. He says the formula that they currently employ means almost every game they make fewer mistakes than their opponent. That's a pretty good recipe for winning. It is. Again, but sometimes it's not as simple as, hey, we have to be worried about not turning the football over. Because what if the Lions go down the field and score 2 touchdowns, right, early on? Possible. Right? Possible.
Yeah, sure.
Scripted 15 plays, and then they're just so talented that Jared Goff takes a shot downfield to Jamison Williams, and it's 14-3. Now what are you going to do?
Do you remember the Rams game this year? The two miracle blocked kicks.
Yes.
That saved that game. First half. How'd that conservative offense work for you?
It didn't work, and then they had to
And
turn
then what
it
they
up.
do in the second half? They start. Remember the seam route to Dallas Goedert and everything, and all of a sudden they got a little aggressive, and wow, they're able to hang with the Rams. You want to beat good teams? You can't play that way. You want to beat the Commodes, you want to beat the Giants, you want to beat teams like that, you can play like it's Pop Warner and we're the better team. SEC teams like Georgia can go out and play 8 of the 12 games on their schedule. Kirby Smart could
go out there and win.
listen to what Nick Sirianni says and win those games. But the games he's not winning, he's not beating Texas that way. He's not going to win the biggest games that way. It's not happening.
Right.
You got it. You can't. That's not how you can win big. And by the way, it showed you in the NFC title game in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
When
Absolutely.
you have to do it. Now that might tell people, well, they got a little more aggressive because they weren't aggressive against the Pack in the playoffs last year.
No, they weren't.
But
now, what's important to know? You mentioned the Rams game. They were able to turn it on, right?
Yeah, they were. They turned
able to
it
turn
on. They got aggressive.
Now, I don't know why the Rams took their foot off the gas pedal in the second half, the not attempting to go for it on certain plays. Sean McVay got very careful in the second half.
He gets big leads. He gets big leads, and it's one of the biggest critiques of his career. He gets a big lead, and he sort of thinks he can sit on it when everything's working. It's sort of like the other night with the Eagles defense. They were dominating that game. They go up by 2 scores, and all of a sudden Vic Fangio and the defense play soft. I didn't get it. I don't get it. And Bill Colarulo and I went back and forth on the Twitter about it because it's like he's saying the same thing. It's like, how do you do that? You're dominating the whole game. Why all of a sudden do you start giving them easy stuff? Didn't make any sense.
So, do you believe the Eagles offense can just turn it on? That's question 1. Question 2, is it as simple as just looking at them at 7-2? Like, hey, they're 7-2. I don't care how it's looked, they're 7-2. Because that's what Adam Schefter tried telling us yesterday.
I feel like they won the game in Green Bay. It's 2 of the top seeds in the NFC. It's in Green Bay. They won the game. I don't care if they won by 3 or 30. I don't care that they went off script or stayed on script. They won the game. They're sitting there with the number 1 seed in the NFC. Don't care. Don't care. I know you're going to try to find something with the drama and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. Like, they're doing what they should be doing. They're winning games. They're creating it themselves, but they're winning. So you can have the stuff and you can have the win. I'm okay. As long as they're winning, the stuff is fine. It is what it is. Like, they overcame it.
Is it that simple?
No, it's not. That's why I challenged Adam on it, and I'll challenge it too here, is that so Nerd Boy was a little bored yesterday during the Flyers game, and I was looking for a little more offense out of the Flyboys last night, but they did a good job getting a point. The points that I hate, but they got a point. I went and found Nick Sirianni in 2023. Quote, we're 9-1. We're 8-1. We're 10-1. Like it's working.
Right.
We're 10-1. We're 9-1. I got him at 9-1, 8-1, and 10-1, saying something like in the press getting questioned about how they're playing, we're 8-1. We're 9-1. We're winning. Like what do you almost like what do you want? And people were saying that as we did shows on this station. People were saying that at the time. I was literally ringing a bell going, this doesn't look good. This doesn't seem right.
You know what's amazing? They were 8-2, 9-2, 10-2, 11-2 last year.
Yes. But they weren't
right?
Yeah. And it was still and I'll say it.
And they won the Super Bowl.
That last year to me was the home. I still can't get over it how poorly they played at home last year. And they won a Super Bowl.
But they won a Super Bowl.
And
so is it I don't think it's that simple. Like I really don't. To John's point, like they were saying these things in 2023,
right.
But we were also worried about a lot of flaws with the Eagles offense last year, and they won the freaking Super Bowl. So like this team confuses me in the most beautiful way possible because we have something to talk about every single day. Whether people get exhausted by it or not, I don't care. I don't. This is great. We have talking points every single day. It's amazing. And yet they keep on winning. This team confuses me in such a brilliant way because they're still 7-2.
Do you find the confusion like? Well, look, for what we do for a living, the confusion's great.
I like to try to solve riddles.
So you like a good riddle?
Yeah, you know what? I like a lion's head, the cat, right?
What?
Lion's head, the beer.
Never seen that.
I've never seen it either.
What?
You think this is a normal thing?
Lion's head has the riddles like the Snapple used
Really?
to.
I don't even know what Lion's Head is.
I remember Snapple had
What?
it.
You don't know what Lion's Head is?
You're
I
yelling
remember,
at me
I
like
remember
it's
Snapple having it. I don't remember Lion's Head. I mean, I know the brand. I don't. That's interesting.
You're yelling at
But
me
they
like
had-
it's Corona.
But they had riddles in it, did they?
Disappointed.
I just look at it as it's a. I don't like keep the easy stuff easy. I think they complicate easy stuff, and that to me isn't a good thing.
Well,
Make life uncomplicated.
Nick Sirianni wants to be careful. Can he be careful this Sunday against the Detroit Lions? I'm telling you right now, no is the answer. You can text and call 610-632-0975. Is it that simple, just winning? Well, not for everybody, including their star wide receiver. Yesterday, A.J. Brown stood in front of his locker and spoke to the media at length about everything that is going on. You'll hear some of that coming up next. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles trying to figure out the offense. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are already getting ready for their Sunday night matchup with the Lions at the Link. And with that comes numerous conversations about the offense and the issues on that side of the ball. A.J. Brown's been vocal about the offensive shortcomings lately. Nick Sirianni met with media yesterday and talked about whether or not that's been a distraction for the team.
No, I don't think so. Again, you can only go from your interactions with everybody and the way they go about their work on a daily basis that you guys aren't able to see. But no, it's business as usual.
Now the Eagles are 7-2, and that's been business as usual lately for this team. We'll see how the offense looks Sunday night against Detroit. Eagles coordinators meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. Flyers almost had a game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation, but it was disallowed due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. They're back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night. And Major League Baseball handed out some of their yearly awards last night. Paul Skeens won the National League Cy Young Award unanimously. Phillies' Christopher Sanchez finished second. Rob Thompson was third in the NL Manager of the Year voting. We're going to talk to Zach Berman at 7 a.m., Kevin Kurz of The Athletic at 7:25, Andrew DiCecco from the 8 o'clock hour till the end of the show. This update is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Bill Colarulo will be hosting the True Fan Tailgate before the Eagles-Lions games this Sunday, November 16th. Brought to you by True Fan Travel and 97.5 The Fanatic. Reserve your spot now at phillysportstrips.com. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Anthony Perry on our YouTube chat. How can you not believe that they can make the switch? They beat the hell out of the Commanders and Chiefs last year in the playoffs. Eagles will score 30 against the Lions. That's one of our questions today. Do you believe the Eagles can just flip on the offense?
Who was that?
Anthony Perry.
Okay, Anthony, let me ask you this. Was the offensive line dominant last year?
Yes.
Arguably the most dominant they've ever been in the history of the franchise.
Yes.
Hey, you're not Anthony.
They're not this year. They're not. He worked with Anthony for so long.
Oh, yeah,
he
so
speaks
different Anthony.
We know, but we know he speaks Anthony.
Yeah,
he can speak Anthony. He can be like the whisperer of Anthony's. No, that was the most dominant offensive line performance, arguably, by any team in the history of the sport. This year, due to injuries,
yes,
and some exits of talent, where they maybe underestimated how big people were to the success, that it's not the same. So I don't think you can just say, oh, well, they did it last year. This isn't last year.
Yeah, and the ground game has not been as good this year.
No, the ground game isn't a weapon this year.
Which is to me one of the biggest concerns, because you can't just rely on knowing there's going to be the big play. We haven't seen much of it. We really haven't. But they're 7-2. So do you believe they can just flip the switch to being an explosive offense? Because you're going to need to this weekend. You're not going to be able to keep the Detroit Lions to 7 points or 13 points. That Lions offense is dangerous, and you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with them. You can text in. You can call in 610-632-0975. Now, Adam Schefter told us it's that simple. They're 7-2. That's how he looks at it. A.J. Brown doesn't.
You know why, though? Adam also doesn't live here.
That's true.
Adam doesn't make his living talking about the Eagles.
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same pain as we do going in, week out.
Adam doesn't care if the Eagles lose the Super Bowl, if the Eagles go out in the first round.
Yeah, we do.
Adam doesn't care.
That's a good point.
So he can't speak our language there. He didn't speak Anthony.
Right. So A.J. Brown yesterday, obviously we all know the cryptic tweets that we've seen this year. He was on Twitch in the middle of the night yesterday, and, he talked about how the offense is a bleep show. And so, as you could expect, Nick Sirianni would have to talk about it. Jalen Hurts would have to talk about it, and they did. But A.J. Brown did as well, so we shortened it a little bit for you. But A.J. Brown, I thought it was impactful. It's just unfortunate that it always has to lead to this. Like, I put this out on social media. I always appreciate how real A.J. is when he talks. It's just the reason why he has to talk is because of things that he does, his own actions. But this was A.J. Brown with members of the media yesterday.
Happy or things weren't going well work-wise?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think if you got eyes, you can see that. The same things I've been saying like all season. So me making light of my situation on Twitch with my friend, that's something I'm not apologizing for. Because like I said, if you got eyes, you can see that. And so that's me trying to laugh through my situation. So yeah.
You see around the league, hey, JJ gets doubled, Jamar gets doubled. They still find a way to get those guys high volume targets. Meanwhile, you're not. So I think that's why people are questioning. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, like I said, I think if you got eyes, you can see that. It's not about what those other guys get. And for me, like I said, man, it's not about targets, man. It's about just want to contribute, want to help, And it's been my situation, And yeah, I am freeing up my teammates, which I don't have a problem with, guys. Like me freeing up the play for Devontae, I don't have a problem with that, man. Like I want to see my team win. I want to see the offense thriving, passing, Yes, I dictate the cover. That's every single week. I think it's fair for me to even say, I feel like we do need to do a better job of creating for me, trying to help put me in situations to help, to contribute. But right now, it just feels as if, I'm just freeing it up for everybody.
What do you think it is?
I can't answer that.
Do you voice that to the coaching staff, and how does that process go?
Yeah. That's like I said. That's been a nonstop communication. We both been talking and trying to get on the same page. So.
Do you think the answers are there to get you open like that?
Do I think the answers is there? I'm always optimistic. We always go into it with a great game plan, trying to do certain things, and I understand how the game go. Sometimes defense take it away. Sometimes, just hypothetically speaking, O-line may slip or fall or something and get pressure. No, that's part of the game. So
Specifically with Jalen, what have your conversations been like in the aftermath of the game about some of the opportunities that maybe you guys didn't connect on?
I'm always just trying to find ways to get better. You know, we're watching film as a unit, as a group, and we're just trying to talk about what we can do better in those situations.
AJ, how do you square your situation with the fact that team's 7-2?
It's not just solely about my situation. I mean, guys, like, obviously I want to win too, you know, and I think if we're really focusing on winning and doing our job, like, we can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over the defense doing their job and getting us out of trouble. Like, at what point are we going to pick up our slack as an offense that we're so great, you know? And that's what I'm getting at. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is stats. No, it's been week after week sometimes we're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over that. And if you expect to win late in the year and you think you're going to go to it at the end of the year, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen, you know? And last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt, and we have to continue to, like, get better and try to find new ways. So that's where the frustration comes in, because it's not about winning, you guys. Like, I want to win, yes. I want to help contribute as well, do our thing on offense as well. I think that's fair.
Go
ahead.
Do you feel like you're misunderstood in that? I
don't care if I'm misunderstood. Like, I stand up in front of it and fall on that sword over and over again. Like, it's about doing what we're supposed to be doing on offense. And if we are really in this business, we're trying to get better, we got to do what we got to do. And not just say, oh, it's about wins. So like, as long as we got the win, it's cool. No, that ain't what no, you cannot do that. Not in this league. We got to continue to get better. We got to do what we have to do on offense to help the defense, to help the special teams.
You're talking three more guys about the ball coming your way. You said you don't know why, but if you look at the film, look, we don't know what Jalen's directed to the end of but there were obvious examples where you were wide open and the ball wasn't coming to you. Is that related to whether you're the first read, or is that he's not throwing the ball at you for some reason?
I don't think that's the case at all. You know, I think certain players have different reads. You know, despite what it looks like when somebody takes a screenshot. And you can't go off that, you know. He has certain reads. He has a lot going on in his head that he's trying to process. And then also he has pressure in his face. So, like I said, I don't know. That maybe it's a question for him or KP. Anybody, so.
AJ, with the last one, folks.
With the stream, very public setting, you know, why are you comfortable in speaking in that way? Did you think about that? Because obviously we end up in a space talking about here. Just curious why, curious how you think about that.
Because after the game, I said all the right answers. I still made a story, right? You know, in that moment where I'm just talking to my friend, having fun with my friend, I'm not apologizing for that. Like I said, because if you have eyes, you can see that. And so, like, it's not that I was throwing anybody on the bus. I'm literally trying to laugh through this though. But I'm trying to make fun of the situation and to try to get through it.
All right, that was A.J. Brown. Again, I appreciate how real his press conferences are. We also have to realize chicken or the egg thing, you know, it's the egg here. The reason why press conferences like this are necessary is because of his own actions on social media, or in this case, a stream on Twitch. But when it's like, let's just actually ask questions and talk, he is great.
Yeah, the weird thing is we listen to it completely differently.
Okay, how's that?
I just jotted down there 5 things where he was totally full of crap.
Well, I
mean, it's okay to just have a and he stood there at his locker and he answered the questions. So I do admire that.
Yeah,
I do admire that. But it's one of those things where in those settings you don't get to do the redirects. Like, it's not about me getting my numbers and my catches. And then the very next minute he says, you know, it's not about that. I'm glad we're winning, but it seems like I'm just freeing it up for everybody else. So in other words, it is about you being out there and freeing it up.
And it's amazing how we can all hear things differently. So coming up next, we'll dive deeper into this.
It's a laundry list.
I took notes too.
Things.
We both have notes. We both hear it differently.
Yeah.
I'm not a notes guy.
All right, you're a vibes guy. We'll get your thoughts too,
yes,
and we want to hear from you. 610-632-0975. Reaction to A.J. Brown's, media availability there yesterday. I thought it was impactful. we both heard it differently. We'll go through that coming up next. And also, how do some of the other players feel about it?
Oh, yeah. Well, we finally can put to bed a myth.
Jalen Hurts spoke about A.J. Brown yesterday as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Whether you're at the job site, sitting in your cubicle,
momentarily, who had to address the comments made by A.J. Brown, which we've talked about a lot on the show, is not something that people want to do within a locker room, right? Having to speak for other people.
No.
All right, so what were some of the things? So you brought up the...
he says, in one answer, he says, it's about winning. It's not just about me. And in the very next answer, he says, I feel like I'm just out there freeing it up for everybody else. Well, those are two completely contrary answers.
Well, and so...
And I'm not, by the way, I don't disagree with him.
Right.
Like his feelings, I'm not telling you that I don't think his feelings are valid.
Sure.
But I would suggest that there's a lot of people driving to work today, and I've most certainly been one of them, that has a lot of grievances with crap that is going on at work.
Right. I piss you off all the time.
Not you. And you know what you don't do, and Connor doesn't either, is you don't take it public. You just don't do that.
Now,
it's not solely about my situation. It's not just solely about my situation. He starts bringing in those examples. It's like, let others speak for themselves. A.J. Brown doesn't have to speak for anyone else. The get better. He goes. He says over the time. He goes. I'm always optimistic. No, you aren't. No, you aren't.
You might be
the most.
He's optimistic going into a game.
No, he didn't say that. He said
I like the game plan. I like the game plan going into the game.
He says I'm always optimistic.
And then he mentioned the game plan.
In fact, he's not. In fact, he may be. Everything he does is a detriment to make you think that Kevin Patullo is not competent and that the offensive game plan sucks.
But
he's not optimistic.
As he continued to talk, he literally said every week about the game plan. He is. And then the game happens. Now,
but he's not, obviously, because he's petitioning for it to be different.
The way you read I feel like I'm just opening things up for others. Like this past game against the Green Bay Packers, it did kind of feel that way.
Oh, it did. No, I
he's
agree.
just underneath. And then the Devontae touchdown, he says in that clip, I have no problem with opening something up where it leads to a touchdown, right, with Devontae Smith. But there are times where this offense is doing nothing, right? Number one team still in 3 and outs. They went back to it. They backtracked after climbing up a little bit in the ranks. They're one of the worst teams in 3 and outs. And A.J. Brown's probably looking at it like, how come my number's not called? Like there are hot route plays, right, where it's like this.
Are there in this offense?
No, what I'm saying is there are in the world. There are.
Yes, there should be.
But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it is. And he says it's fair for me to say that they need to do a better job creating for me, which nobody in this city disagrees with.
Absolutely.
Nobody. 3 targets.
No, it absolutely. There's nobody. Again, what AJ is, his grievance is absolutely reality. He's not making it up at all. I mean, and I think overwhelmingly, Connor, you, me, Andrew, we all agree, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We all agree with what his grievance is. But what he's doing is he's telling you, too, that we got to keep getting better. We keep finding ways. This isn't good enough. He's speaking contrarily to his offensive coordinator and his head coach.
Is it good enough? Because I don't think that it is.
No, it isn't. No, I agree with him.
And so, I have no problem with him saying
But this is counterproductive.
I got you.
It's not. It would
and
not.
We've been saying that since Tampa.
It would not be productive for you to take your grievances about whatever it is public. Go to the Inquirer, Crossing Broad, or whatever. It's not professional.
I could just say it on the radio.
Coming up next, why we hate each other.
yeah,
exactly.
Now, a couple other things that, again, we all hear things differently. It's a new season. Thank you for the ring. They adapted. Now we have to adapt. And I've stood by that. When we were talking in May about what we needed to see this year, I told you guys that I needed to see more from the passing offense because I expected defenses to be like, we're going to stop that Saquon Barkley guy. And it seems like the Eagles, like they did in 2023, where Nick Sirianni said publicly, speaking of publicly to Jeff McClain, it's not about finding new things. It's about improving upon what you already do well.
Which I hate.
Copy-paste does not work in the NFL. It doesn't. Because defenses are also doing whatever they can to figure out a way to stop you. And, hey, by the way, even though you're 7-2, defense has done a pretty damn good job of finding ways to stop you this year.
You're using ChatGPT to do your term paper. That's really what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just copy-pasting.
They're just saying, hey, we've done this before. It's going to work again.
And I think they're copying and pasting their record year after year.
And that's why they're a beautiful mystery to me. And there are some people, and I understand it, fans that just go, they're 7-2. It's that simple. I don't care about the noise. I don't care about how it looks. They keep on finding ways to win. I look at it a little bit differently. Like, all right, the way they played offensively against the Green Bay Packers, they will not be able to keep up with the Detroit Lions this way. So that needs to change. Now, there are some people that believe, they will be able to flip the switch depending on the game plan. And that's one of our questions for you today at 610-632-0975. Do you believe that they'll be able to just turn it up a notch? Now, one more important note. He did stand up for Jalen pretty well there.
I think he did.
Because that screenshot, there was a play. And look, trust me, I needed 2 more receptions from A.J. Brown. There was a play where A.J. Brown was open in the middle of the field. And that was the play that, like, a million people screenshotted. And he goes on the record and says, you can't just react to a screenshot. If he's so angry with Jalen, he could have said something about let Jalen answer that question. right, and then moved on. No, he did speak and stood up for Jalen Hurts, and that is something that is important because we all know that there's some sort of drama between the two, even though you keep on telling us they do.
They dine together.
They dine together. It's not like they don't talk.
If you couldn't stand somebody at work and you had a cafeteria,
right, you wouldn't sit near them.
Are you sitting with them at a small table, like where you're sitting at a private table with them? No, you're not.
All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Trey in Bucks County. What's up, Trey? You're on Kincade Salciunas.
What up, fellas? Good morning.
Hi, Trey.
I just want to stick up for AJ a little bit because I know he's going to get dogged this week. But, I just see, he's frustrated because of all the talent they have on offense, and they're not, pulling their weight a little bit. But I told the screener, imagine if you're, a truck driver and you get your license, whatever, you can drive big semis, and you're forced to drive a van every day. It's,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
okay. Do you have frustrations, Trey? Do you have frustrations at work?
Yeah, of course. Everyone does.
Okay. Like we do, like every other professional does. I'm sure that they do. What you don't do, though, is have your frustration and your become the distraction for everybody else. You have to be professional.
Of course. It's like me complaining about my problems to a customer or something.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do that.
You don't
Make
do
the
it.
Company look bad.
Yes, because you're supposed to be part of the team.
Wrong. He's got to keep it in house and do a little bit better.
And when you say, Trey, and thanks for the call, brother, we appreciate it, man. When you say I'm coming here to defend AJ because I feel like he's going to get drugged through the mud or whatever. Nobody's
we're all agreeing with that.
Disagrees with AJ Brown's opinions and beliefs of how the offense needs to look.
In fact, we're all 10 out of 10 on that?
Yes.
10 out of 10 with AJ. We are firmly in AJ's camp on his opinion.
It's going on Twitch.
Yes.
It's doing this.
And I'm just talking to my friend. No, you're not.
Right.
You're talking on a Twitch feed with tens of thousands of listeners.
Now.
That's not you just talking to a friend. You talking to your friend is picking up a phone call.
I understand that there are a lot of people that go, oh, my God, stop talking about this. Please move on. Well, again, chicken or the egg, we can't talk about something if it doesn't exist. This exists. And
he made it.
And so Jalen Hurts was asked about it yesterday. And you will hear from the franchise quarterback during his media availability yesterday. It's Kincade and Salciunas. By the way, Zach Berman joins us at 7 o'clock here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Still questions to answer. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are already getting ready for their Sunday night matchup with the Detroit Lions at Lincoln Financial Field. And with that comes conversations about the offense, which still has some questions to answer. And A.J. Brown has been posing some of those questions rather publicly. He talked yesterday about his recent comments on Twitch that were critical of the offense.
So me making light of my situation on Twitch with my friend, that's something I'm not apologizing for. Because like I said, if you got eyes, you can see that. And so that's me trying to laugh through my situation. So
well, we've got eyes, and we can see that the Eagles' offense has not been running smoothly consistently this year, but we'll see if they can figure it out Sunday night against Detroit. Eagles coordinators meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. Flyers almost had a game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation, but it was disallowed due to an offside call on Owen Tippett. They're back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night. Major League Baseball handed out some of their yearly awards last night. Paul Skeens won National League Cy Young. Phillies' Christopher Sanchez finished second. Rob Thompson was third for National League Manager of the Year voting. Zach Berman of The Athletic joins us coming up next for the latest on the Eagles. This update is brought to you by Audible. Stuck in traffic? Audible's romance collection will have you falling fast in the slow lane. Satisfy every side of you with rom-coms, romantasy, and the really steamy stuff. Listen free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
from 8 to 10. But we got our buddy Zach Berman from The Athletic coming up in about 5 minutes. And speaking of The Athletic, Kevin Kurz, who covers the Flyers for The Athletic, will join us today at 7:25.
Very insightful man when it comes to Flyers hockey.
Yeah, and
I like his stuff a lot.
Very exciting night yesterday, going toe to toe with Edmonton. Michkov with the goal.
It's
to tie
3 in a row.
and
Three
then
games in a row,
which is nice because there's obviously been a lot of talk about Michkov recently. And then they go to overtime, they lose, but they get a point. I know you're anti the point, but when it goes in the Flyers' favor against Edmonton, we'll take it.
No, I really do. I hate the overtime loss because they've got a lot of games where they won in overtime too.
Right.
This year, I just hate the overtime. That's the first thing I would do as first thing I would do if I'm made commissioner.
Well, they got a point last night against Edmonton. We'll take it. All right, Jalen Hurts yesterday at the podium, his midweek media availability. Talked a lot about the final play that they checked into, all kinds of stuff, even though Nick Sirianni tried refuting that. He was very snippy yesterday.
He was a little snippy.
But at one point, Jalen was asked about the comments made by A.J. Brown. And again, this is not a first-time thing. So for people that always point out the evil media, well, there's a reason why questions are asked. And so Jalen was asked about it, and this was his response.
Got the Detroit Lions, so I'm gonna definitely put a halt to that. I think the more we drive that, the more of a distraction it becomes. And I think ultimately it's about the group. And so things have been what they've been, and they are where they are. You know, we are who we are as a team. We're all we got, and we're all we need. And so in terms of who we have this week, we got a really good opponent coming into town, a team that is, if I can only imagine, has been waiting on the opportunity to play us, given history and given how good they've been. Been a great team, great organization, great coach, and great culture. And so my energy, my focus is purely focused on trying to be the best that I can be this week, trying to lead this offense in a way that we need to be led and be the leader I need to be in this time.
This is where it's completely contrary to the message that many who cover the Eagles have tried to tell you. This isn't a distraction. It hasn't been a distraction. AJ's not a distraction. Yes, he is. Jalen just told you. Now, I'm going to shut this down right now. I don't have time to talk about this. We're worried about other stuff. We don't need to be talking about this. And the head coach had the same opinion. They're dealing with nonsense every single week, having to talk about somebody else causing these kind of distractions.
And there was a back and forth with Nick Sirianni and members of the media. We'll play that for you later on in the show. But I want to get a text message real quick, Connor, before we get to our man Zach Berman. You can text the show at 610-632-0975. Do you believe the Eagles offense can just flip it on? Because Nick Sirianni yesterday talked about how they're always focused on not losing the turnover battle. Like, it's very, very protective of the football, which I understand. That is a thing that you need to do. But against the Lions, it's not just about being careful. You're going to have to put up points. And do you look at it simply as they're 7-2 and you ignore everything else? What do we got?
David checks in, says, just win. Eagles are 22-3 in their last 25 games. A.J. Brown, Antonio Brown, James Brown. Doesn't matter. Eagles by 10.
All right, Eagles by 10, sure. I love it. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. We're going to be joined by our man Zach Berman here momentarily. Let's go to Michael and Yard. No, never mind. Sorry. Zach is ready to go. My bad, Mike. Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. This man does a tremendous job every single year covering the Philadelphia Eagles. Now with The Athletic, you got to check out his books. I say it plural because the Eagles have won multiple Super Bowls now. The Underdog book, which I loved when the Eagles won the Super Bowl back in 2017-18. And Leap Year, the most recent one that we got when the Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
I helped his children's future college education by buying both.
Oh, that's good
How about
work.
that?
That's good work by you. Zach Berman joins us. Zach, good morning, man. How are we today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I appreciate the introduction.
And the kids are going to college, Zach, just so you know. They're going to college.
Good job, John Kincade. You can thank him and thank him only.
I paid for 2 pages of one textbook, believe me. Start saving.
So Zach, yesterday was a crazy day at NovaCare between the press conferences with Nick Sirianni and, of course, Jalen Hurts, but also the conversation with A.J. Brown. What did you make of A.J. Brown's comments? Because obviously the reason why you guys have to ask these questions are because of his own actions. But then when he does actually speak to the media, I feel like he comes off great. So what did you make of what A.J. Brown had to say yesterday?
Yeah, first off, he said it was a crazy day. I think it's just a Wednesday covering the Eagles.
In your life.
But yeah, I agree with you. I thought what AJ said made a lot of sense, and it explains what he's going through right now, what his thinking is right now, in that the offense needs to play better. He admits that. He sees that. We should see that. And that he wants to be more involved. Like, he wants to have an impact on games. He wants to be more than a decoy for most of the game. And you saw against the Packers a day when the Eagles scored they scored 10 points. He had 2 targets on the first drive of the game when the Eagles actually went downfield. And then he was targeted once the rest of the game, and that was the final play. So I think everything he said made sense. You can argue with his distribution method sometimes, but I think what he's saying is productive, and I think if the Eagles listen to it as opposed to dismissing it as like media-generated controversy, I think it would be productive for them.
It is productive, his message. Like, we all agree on this show that his message, we can't disagree with any of it. But it's clear you now have yesterday a head coach expressing frustration, having to talk about it, a quarterback expressing frustration, having to talk about it, wanting to focus on the Detroit Lions. At what point does it become counterproductive that he is constantly choosing to speak, I guess, for the room?
Yeah, I mean, as far as it being counterproductive, I would say they're 7-2 this year. Since he's been in Philly, they've been to the Super Bowl twice, won it once. The down year was an 11-win season. So if it's counterproductive, I don't know what production it's countering, right? Like it's not affecting them in terms of wins and losses. I think it's important to separate the annoyance about answering questions about the AJ and kind of about AJ's usage. Like there's the football, there's the on-field component of it, which I think is very real and which I think the Eagles can't ignore. If it's kind of like the drama surrounding it, I say that's the price of show business sometimes, right? Like that comes with the territory. And as annoyed as Nick might be by it, Nick has what, 3 press conferences a week and then post game. Most of it's not taking away his time from preparing for the Detroit Lions. So I really don't think it's counterproductive. It does give us a lot to talk about and to write about, but I don't think it's affecting the team.
Zach Berman joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline. Yesterday, during Nick Sirianni's press conference, Tim McManus asked about sort of the lack of aggression sometimes with the Eagles' offense, the conservative approach, while also having so many talented players. Zach, in a game like this Sunday against the Detroit Lions, do you expect the Eagles to maybe go to a different page in the playbook, or will it ultimately be about just trying to win the turnover battle? Because I don't think they can just go into a game trying not to lose against the Lions.
Yeah, it's a valid question. I do think avoiding turnovers is going to be chief among, it's going to be their chief priority here. If you look at their numbers this season, the Eagles are, they have the lowest point differential through 10 games, or through 10 weeks rather, of the Sirianni era, the fewest points per drive. Like, offensively, this is the least production they've had during the next 5 years, but where they are better than any of those other years is in turnovers. They have the fewest turnovers during that time, and they see the correlation there, and I can't argue with that. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I think you can be aggressive, get the ball downfield, get the ball to your best players. I think that's important, and still not be reckless. Like I think if it's presented as either or, then it's misrepresenting the way they can play football. They can get the ball to A.J. Brown. They can get the ball to Devontae Smith. They don't need to hand the ball off on 3rd and 7+, and still reduce turnovers. So I push back on if Nick or if anyone thinks these two things are mutually exclusive.
How do you feel about this team on November the 13th? And if you could put yourself back in the time machine a little bit, how you felt about them last year a little before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I frankly feel better about this year's team. And the reason I say that is I think they have a better path to the number 1 seed, which is going to be such a significant difference. I mean, last year at this time, I was worried about the Lions for the Eagles. I thought the Lions were the best team in the NFC. And look, the Lions lost in the playoffs. They were banged up at the end. The Eagles were hot and healthier at the right time. But I'd be fascinated to see what a game in Detroit would have been. So I think this year I like the Eagles' path to the number 1 seed if they win on Sunday. And I think that they have everything that they need. They got to get this figured out offensively, but I think defensively they're going to continue to get better. The Jalen Phillips acquisition was huge. It changes the complexion of the defense for them. Getting the Kobe backs big. They got to figure things. They got to figure out some things in the secondary. But I think overall, if the Eagles win Sunday against Detroit, they have over a 50% chance of getting the 1 seed. That is huge before Thanksgiving.
Zach Berman, will it continue to be Adoree Jackson's job at cornerback 2? He was back out there after the bye week. A lot of people were worried that he might miss the game because of the concussion, but he was back. I didn't think he played all that poorly. Is it still Adoree Jackson's job moving forward?
It is. Now, the wild card here is Jacorian Bennett. He'll be back out this week. I do know the Eagles were encouraged by Jacorian Bennett before the injury, and he jumped Keely Ringo on the depth chart before the injury. I don't think he was far from jumping Adoree Jackson before the injury. But Vic Vic Fangio has not had enough time to evaluate him. And so I think that if Jacorian has a few good practices here, I still think it's Adoree Jackson's job, but I don't think he has a long leash, so to speak.
All right, Zach, listen, man, keep up the great work
job,
as always.
Zach.
Doing a great job covering the Eagles for The Athletic, and hopefully we can write another book following.
You helped him write a book? What, are you taking credit for it?
Well, I mean, look, we have him on the show, so that
we didn't help him at all.
That helps promote. Maybe he gets ideas from coming on the show.
Zach, if you get ideas from us,
there might be a chapter about the saga of A.J. Brown.
There could be.
And he might say, I was on Kincade and Salciunas needing to calm everybody down.
I'll definitely buy that book if he does.
If there's another book, I will mention that for sure.
You're the man,
Thank you,
Zach.
buddy.
We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again
Appreciate
soon.
it, guys. Thanks.
There he is, Zach Berman on the Comcast Business Hotline.
One of the best people you will meet in local media, period.
Well,
in any market.
Oh, he's a tremendous person.
Tremendous individual.
In the Leap Year book, when we had him on last time, we talked about it. Like every chapter is basically a specific player. The
Yes.
A.J. Brown, it might be a novel.
AJ will write his own.
All right, coming up
His own
next.
book.
Is it just as simple as looking at them as a 7-2 football team? A legendary media member says that's the way you should approach it. We'll hear that coming up next, and more from your texts and calls here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
If something feels off, I'm going to tell you.
Hers coming up at 7:25. Real quick, hardwood. Sixers. Or basketball, excuse me, because it's not Sixers related. On the hardwood, did you guys see the latest with the Dallas Mavericks and the Nico Harrison stuff?
No.
So remember the portable steps that I told you about?
Yeah.
They got rid of them.
Well, they had to.
Because
right?
he got
He's
fired.
gone, right?
Yeah,
He's gone.
they don't need him anymore.
They don't need him anymore, so they just completely got rid of him. Also, crazy story. ESPN was reporting about it. Anthony Davis, who's, always hurt. Apparently, Nico Harrison.
Let's not throw stones.
Nico Harrison was, trying to force him back in action despite the team doctor saying he can't play. Do you think the part of that is I made one of the worst trades in the history of the world, and so I need to get this guy on the court no matter what?
No,
Absolutely.
I think all of that is that exact thing.
Absolutely.
Not just part.
This guy's like, oh my God, I'm getting crushed here. I need Anthony Davis to play. And meanwhile, the team doctors are saying, no, this guy can't play.
I heard the worst yesterday on NBA Today with Malika Andrews and her crew that it's starting to get frustrating for James Harden. He may look for another way to go chase a championship. I'm like, for God's sakes, what? Just put that on rewind. How long till we hear, hey, Harden for Paul George?
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Well, of course we would. We'd help him pack. Yeah. I'd get a bagster for him.
Dude, I'd do it in a second.
I mean, there's never been a star, and I use star with Paul George lightly, as far as compared to others. There's never been a star athlete come to this town who has made less of a, there's no buzz for him at all.
Nobody's
he has
excited.
no connection.
Nobody's excited for his return.
He has no connection to this town.
It's actually crazy. Think about that. A max contract player who we've seen 2 minutes of is going to come back eventually from injury. Nobody cares.
The city has no connection to him.
None
and he has no
whatsoever.
connection to the city, as he proved on NFC title game night.
Well, maybe Mad Dog Chris Russo will get a little connection with the city here.
He's got a good one in this one.
Because there's a lot of people that I know are not a fan of the Mad Dog.
I don't know why they aren't. He's very funny. He's very funny.
Sounds like German John.
He's great at his job.
Mad Dog is trying to put it very simply for Eagles fans, talking about, hey, don't worry about it. They're 7-2.
Are there concerns with Philadelphia's offense?
Absolutely not. I am amazed that everywhere I turn, people are making a big deal about the Eagles' offense. First off, they won in Kansas City. They won in Green Bay. They won in Tampa. I mean, they're going to win the division going away. They got to crack. They beat the Rams. So they beat the Rams, Tampa, Kansas City, and the Packers. That's pretty good. Furthermore, when you think of the Eagles, in the fourth quarter there on Monday night, they ran down the field, they scored on a nice play to Devon. First off, they had the field goal. Then they ran down and scored. And then when they got the ball back with about 5.5 minutes to go, they completed a 3rd and 12 play to Devontae Smith to get the first down, and they rushed it all the way down to the 35-yard line. Barkley made a big play on a catch and run for 42 yards. If they didn't fumble on the first, second, or whatever drive of the game, they would have scored more points. They beat a very good team on the road with an excellent defense, and we're going to sit there 2 days later and say, well, what's up with the Eagle offense? Who cares if A.J. Brown doesn't catch the ball? Let him put his crypt notes out and get annoyed and everything else. He's going to play. He's going to be in the games. Barkley is Barkley. They didn't have Land Johnson for a long time. I am amazed that so many people are making a big deal about a team that right now is the #1 seed in football. And they're the Super Bowl champs. And they got a quarterback who does nothing but win. What else do you want?
I'll tell you this about Mad Dog. Very much like our man who will join us later on, Andrew DeCecco.
Yes.
If you watched that rant, he's staring into the camera the whole time. He's not an Eagles fan.
No.
He knows all of that, his argument. He's just rattling it off in his head. Whether you like his opinions or not, he's prepared.
Oh, of course.
He's prepared. He's not some hot take guy that's just going, oh, I'm going to just make. He came loaded for bear for that segment and had it on the top of his head just rattling off, man, this team, he makes some good points. But again, it's great. I've heard it before.
Here's the deal.
The record doesn't always indicate how well you're playing.
Sunday's the test.
It is.
Sunday is the
big test.
When I asked the question, do you believe the Eagles can just turn it on, offensively, right? Again, they're not going to win scoring 10 points against the Detroit Lions. Do you guys believe that they can just flip the switch like we saw last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers game? Can we get a text message on that at 610-632-0975? I need to say it because if they don't have a good game plan or a good day offensively against the Detroit Lions, they will not win.
This texter says you got to be some kind of way if you can't see the difference between last year and this year. This team is nowhere near the greatness of last year, and they'll fizzle out, sadly.
Well, yeah, and the offensive line was really key when we had the first texter bring it up.
Close. Like,
and you mentioned it. You know, the ground game is
completely
nowhere
different
near where it was
this year and last year. If you're comparing this year to last year, I think you're not paying attention. Like, I don't think you're paying attention enough.
They're going to need to throw the ball better in order to win.
But Zach, who is there every day, eyeballs on the teammate, he feels better because of the path to the 1 seed. That you go from the 1 seed to the 3 seed if you lose on Sunday.
Also,
there's a difference.
Real quick, they don't have to be last year.
Yeah, no, there could be a different
Right, you could be a different version.
Here's the deal. Nick Sirianni is trying to copy-paste last year.
Oh, he is.
And that's a problem. And that's been a problem since before the season started when we talked about having to do things differently. Flyers are doing things differently. They went toe-to-toe with Edmonton last night.
They did.
We talk about next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles eyeing Detroit. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are getting ready for their matchup Sunday night with the Detroit Lions at Lincoln Financial Field. And with that comes conversation all week about the offense and the issues on that side of the ball. A.J. Brown has been vocal about the offensive shortcomings, and Nick Sirianni talked about whether or not his star wide receivers' comments have become a distraction.
No, I don't think so. Again, you can only go from your interactions with everybody and the way they go about their work on a daily basis that you guys aren't able to see. But no, it's business as usual.
So the Eagles at 7-2 sound like they're focused on taking care of business against a big-time opponent Sunday night against Detroit. We'll keep an eye on the Eagles offense. Eagles coordinators meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. They almost had a game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation, but it was waved off due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. They're back in action tomorrow, but we'll talk to Kevin Kurz, who covers the Flyers for The Athletic, about the latest on the team coming up next. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night, and Major League Baseball handed out some of their yearly awards last night. Paul Skeens won National League Cy Young, with the Phillies' Christopher Sanchez finishing second. Rob Thompson finished third for National League Manager of the Year voting. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Despite wintry conditions and heavy traffic, holidays must go on. That's why Mercedes-Benz SUVs come with the latest safety technology. Find incredible offers at the Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
How feel about having to answer questions about A.J. Brown? You'll hear that coming up in a few minutes. But joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. He's doing a tremendous job covering the Flyers for the Athletic. Flyers, nice night last night. Got the point, Johnny, against Edmonton. Kevin Kurz joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline. Kevin, good morning. How are we doing today?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. A nice night for the Flyers yesterday against a really talented Edmonton team. I know the Flyers are still working through, a change with Rick Tocchet here at the beginning of the season. But how impressed were you with their performance yesterday, going to go toe-to-toe with one of the better teams in the NHL?
Well, they did get a point out of it. Edmonton didn't come in playing particularly well. They'd only won 2 games on the road all year out of, I think it was 9. Defensively, the Flyers were fine. They held Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl mostly at bay, but they were pinned in their end far too often. And that's you can look at that two ways. They were defending well and they were maintaining their structure and they weren't letting some of the really skilled players on Edmonton get high danger scoring chances, but they didn't have the puck and they weren't on the attack enough. So. That's something we've seen a little bit too often with this team. They're defending a little bit too much, and to their credit, they don't run out of place. But at some point, they've got to stop. They've got to be able to sort of halt the momentum and get things going the other way. Because for far too much of yesterday's game, they were just defending. So they played well at the start of the game. They played well in the third period, but it was just that stretch from, I would say, middle of the first period through most of the second, where they get outshot 19-1 over that stretch, and they're still managing to get a point out of it. So I guess you can look at it glass half full or glass half empty if you want.
Kev, I'm shocked at the fact that we wake up around 2 weeks till Thanksgiving, and the Flyers are 4th in the league in goals against. I can't even fathom that, because going into the year, if you had told me that Rick Tocchet would have them as a top 10 or 12 defense, I think I would have questioned that.
Yeah, and I think that's why, if you're looking for a reason of hope, that's probably it. Because, if you're a coach, if you're Rick Tocchet, you'd much rather have the defensive aspect of the game and the goaltending in place, and then wait for the offense to come around and hope the offense comes around. Because that's the hardest part, right? And that's kind of what Rick Tocchett's known for, really, is he's a defensive minded coach. He's had success in that part of the game with his other stops along the way. And so that's going really well. Travis Sanheim, Cam York especially, they've been eating up a ton of minutes. They've both been playing really well. Jamie Drysdale's coming on. Nick Seeler's been good. And even their third D pair, which we had some real big question marks about going into the season, has been fine. But obviously the MVP, the early season MVP here is Dan Vladar. 10 starts, he's allowed 2 or fewer goals in 8 of them. The Flyers haven't gotten that kind of goaltending in a little while, and obviously that was their biggest issue last season, was the goaltending. So that's looking like a real good move for Danny Briere in the offseason. Vladar's fit in on the ice. He's fit on off the ice with his teammates. They really seem to love him. So that's huge moving forward. If they can maintain that and pick up the offense and hope that some of these guys like the Matvei Michkovs come around and start scoring a little bit more, then the team could hang in the playoff race for the year if that happens.
Speaking of Michkov, as Kevin Kerr joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline, covers the Flyers for The Athletic. Michkov now a goal in 3 straight games, and I know Sean Couturier had his comments over the weekend as well. Have you seen any change from Michkov in recent days to be more involved in the offense to have those 3 goals?
Yeah, I don't put a whole lot of stock in Couturier's comments after the game. He was asked about Michkov specifically, and he said, I think, what everybody else sees, that when he's not scoring goals, he's got to be better away from the puck. And if you go back to that game on Thursday when Michkov had his single biggest offensive highlight, it was a beautiful goal he scored. He was still doing a few things that I think as a coach you kind of cringe. It was a minute and a half left, and he's trying a dangerous cross-ice pass through the neutral zone that gets picked off, and it leads to a pretty dangerous scoring chance. So, those are the things he's still got to get out of his game. But last night he was good in that regard too. I can't recall any real blatant turnovers or misplays with the puck. He scores that goal in the power play. He's getting his legs underneath him. It's no secret now. It's been reported many times by me and others that he just didn't come into camp in good enough shape. I think that's a lesson he learned. That's something that he acknowledge after that game on Thursday was that it was the first time he'd taken 4 months away from hockey, and he's got to train a little bit differently next season, or next off season, that is. So he knows it. I think he learned his lesson. And now that he is starting to come on, he's someone the Flyers need, right? They all know, Sean Couturier and everybody else in that dressing room knows that if this team's going to go anywhere, they need Matvei Michkov to be a very big part of that. And he hasn't been early on, but he's starting to become that later or lately.
It's also great to see improvement on the power play. Can you talk a little bit about that and how this team, different approaches you've seen from this coaching staff addition this year?
Yeah, there's so much more movement. They're getting more pucks to the net now. I thought it was interesting. We talked to Cam York before the season. He's a guy that didn't get any power play time under John Tortorella, and there was clearly some sort of a rift there. But a couple guys have said that on the power play now, they're not afraid to make plays because they're not afraid to get yanked off one of the two units, like might have happened under the last coaching staff. So I think they're a little bit freed up mentally to try to make plays. And Rick Tocchet too is a very good power play coach. He's had success in the past coaching power plays, particularly in Pittsburgh when they won the Stanley Cup there. Zegras helps too. Let's be real.
Sure.
He's got 16. Yeah, he has 16 points. Half of his points are on the power play. He's become a real dangerous offensive player on the power play. Jamie Drysdale's been good up top, and Cam York, like I said, he's a guy that didn't get any power play time last year. He's had some success running one of the two units himself, but it does look worlds better. I think they're right around middle of the league right now, like 14th or 15th or so.
That's a huge improvement.
And it is, yeah. I mean, you consider they were 30th last year and dead last in the league the two previous years under John Tortorella. It really had nowhere to go but up, and that's going to be huge moving forward too.
Kevin, great stuff, man. Keep up the great work covering the Flyers for The Athletic, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Anytime, guys. Thanks so much.
There is Kevin Kurz on the Comcast Business Hotline. Am I a hockey guy?
Because you said pucks on net?
Now, seriously, when you sent that last night, I was like, come on now.
Last night,
the shallow pool.
Connor Thomas texts the group, damn, Flyers only down 1-0. And Andy's already out. I don't even know what that was about. I responded with just need more pucks on net. And I heard Kevin Kurz just now talking about pucks on net. And then I texted you guys about a great poke check that I saw.
Yeah, I thought the poke check is where I was out on the conversation. Connor, that's where I sort of muted the conversation.
I went poke check on you guys, and then I said go Ann Hathaway.
That's the hockey equivalent of saying we need 6 here.
Exactly.
If you're a football fan.
Yes, you were saying, what's funny is that's exactly what I was thinking. It sounds like Dad's sitting next to you on the couch.
Yeah,
could really use 6 here. Pucks on net.
Pucks on net, baby.
Pucks on net, guys.
Andrew
Game
Pucks.
of runs in the
Andrew
NBA.
Pucks Salciunas.
What more do you have?
That's awesome.
All right, Nick Sirianni.
He even dropped a Coolio, too, last night.
Well, yeah.
Which is great. God rest his soul.
Yeah. See, when I think of Coolio, I think of All That. Or no, not All That. What the hell is it called? Keenan and Kel.
Yeah.
He was the intro to Keenan and Kel.
And a Pennsylvanian.
How about that?
How about that, Julio? If I'm not mistaken, he was a Pennsylvanian.
So is this technically Gangster's Paradise?
Yes, this is Gangster's Paradise.
Have you been downtown lately? It is.
So Nick Sirianni had to speak about A.J. Brown yesterday as well. Here was there were some forced-in questions about other topics, so we had to do some editing. Here was Nick Sirianni talking about A.J. Brown.
Why in the first 59 minutes was A.J. never targeted beyond?
Were we in a debate? Or is that what?
Well, I think that's a fair question to ask.
What's the question?
But why wasn't A.J. targeted beyond the first 2 drives, and it took until that moment for you guys to throw it on the team?
Yeah, again, games, if you look at the game and how the game went, there's a lot of plays in that game that are going to him that for different reasons don't. For instance, Smitty's touchdown. That play is going to A.J. They took it away, and he threw it over the top. You can't look at stats and just say, this is what's happening. You can't paint the picture that way. I know that's sometimes is all the information that you guys may have, but you can't look at it that way and just say, here's how the game is playing out. Like, there are reasons and different things. A.J. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, so of course we're trying to get him involved in the game every single time. Sometimes it goes like it did in the Rams game or the Vikings game, and sometimes it goes like it did in this last game.
The third time, though, after a victory where A.J., either on social media or in this case on live stream, has sort of voiced his displeasure, is that at all becoming a distraction?
No, I don't think so. Again, you can only go from your interactions with everybody and the way they go about their work on a daily basis that you guys aren't able to see. But no, it's business as usual.
Kind of business as usual with AJ. I mean, his latest comments, made it seem like it's not business as usual. Like, how do you kind of reconcile that with him?
Yeah, guys, I'm close to being done answering these questions with this. Like, he's working hard, and he is a big part of this game plan, and it'll be a big part of the game plan going forward. And he's working like crazy when he's here, and I'm excited to have him.
So, Nick, stop lying to us, because I'm going to shut. I'm close to shutting this down. It's obviously a distraction because you're having to answer questions week after week about it. And by the way, that is the 6th time that I'm able to check from the Eagles' own transcripts where he has talked about we're trying to get the ball to A.J. Brown. Puka Nacua, any other.
Oh, they get the ball.
Jamar Chase, any others. Tell me.
Jamar Chase had 22 targets in one game.
Tell me the top wide receiver in football where their head coach is saying, well, we're trying to get him the ball. We're just not doing it. It's because you have hired someone who is not ready to design an offense that can take advantage of all of these weapons. But he won't own that. He won't own it.
Sorry, Jamar Chase had 23 targets.
Oh, that's terrible. That's they're trying to get him the ball?
The very next week, how many he had?
Wait a minute.
19.
Who did he with who throwing them the ball?
Flacco.
Yes. I'm so tired of hearing him
Just
say,
get him the ball!
We're trying to get the ball to A.J. Brown. It's incompetence. The offense that is being designed it's incompetence.
But it goes back to wanting to be careful, which coming up next.
Oh, my gosh.
We'll play you the audio we open the show up with. I'm telling you now, the Eagles cannot play overly careful on Sunday. They just can't. Nick Sirianni takes pride in winning the turnover battle. I understand, but in a game like this Sunday against the Lions, you're going to have to go downfield. You'll hear from Sirianni again coming up next. Also, I've been down on this game since last week. I have not hid that from you. And no, I'm not going to do the bait and switch Friday at 9:50 saying, you know what, I think the Eagles win. John Kincade, though, feels very confident. He's going to try to give me 3 reasons why I should feel better coming up next. Right here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. John Kincade is going to give 3 reasons to make me feel better about Sunday's game against the Detroit Lions momentarily. But let's get to some of the people, because we've been talking about the Eagles offense and whether or not you think they can just turn it on, because they're going to need to do that this Sunday against the Detroit Lions. Here was Nick Sirianni yesterday talking about not wanting to lose the turnover battle, which I understand that's something that's very important, right? I'm not denying that, but in a game like Sunday, you're going to have to take some shots downfield.
Understanding that your approach on offense is limiting the turnovers, which is helping you guys win. Is it a sustainable approach from the standpoint of all the star players that you have on offense?
I don't know. Yeah.
Who are all going to obviously going to want to be featured parts. Can you sustain that over a long period of time?
Well, we've been doing a good job of taking care of it for the last 2 years, and it's been pretty sustainable so far. We just got to continue that. Like I've said to you guys, you want to be able to be explosive too, but our first and foremost is always win that turnover battle. We know that's the key for us on how we take care of the football, and that goes into every element that we have, offensively, defensively, coaching. We sure spend a lot of time on it. So we've had some success here the last 2 years playing this way, and we'll continue to try to get better and work to get better. But we're definitely not gonna sway from the turnover battle.
And that's when A.J. Brown says we can't just do the same thing because the league adapted to us.
They did.
So that's why you can't disagree.
That's where we agree with. That's where we agree with A.J. completely.
New season, they adapted. Now we have to adapt. And you hear Nick Sirianni say right there, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing the same things and just do that. And I'll tell you this, there's something in all my years of doing this for a job that has said to me, pay attention to this. When a coach starts referencing the resume, it always tells me that's when they're in defensive mode.
Okay.
Because this is Nick Sirianni who told us, I believe, in the beginning of the year, we were told last year was last year, that's done, finished. Sure. We're not doing it. Nick Sirianni in the past 2 weeks has referenced last year, the previous year, 5 times in his press conferences. So which is it? Yeah. Is it a new year? Are we talking about this year, which is what he wanted us to do? And just, hey, we're talking about this year. We turned the page. Whenever he gets in question, he's now referring to, last year.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
It's a good point,
last year.
Johnny.
Come on, Nick. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
Maybe he'll finally look at the banner.
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's go to Michael and Yarley before John Kincade
When was banner night?
Gives 3 reasons why I should feel better about Sunday. What's up, Coach Mike?
What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. So I think no one has really talked about the big issue here. Do you think Sirianni would be harking on turnover battle and playing this risk-aversive type of offense if he had Matthew Stafford at quarterback?
No.
Or if he had any quarterback that you trust throwing the ball
or Mike, or if the ground game was as explosive as it was last year, which it's not.
Do you think that A.J. Brown would have this type of response if the offense was averaging 30 points per game?
What are his numbers?
Top 5 and 3 and outs in the league.
What are his numbers? Because if they were scoring 30 and his numbers sucked, he would be complaining.
I just don't think so.
Come on.
I'm seeing 2 big things, John. I'm seeing 2 big things. The first big thing I'm seeing is we have this risk-aversive vanilla offense that is not that you would run with a team that doesn't have talent. But we're running it with all the talent around our offense. That's the number one thing.
You're right on that.
And the number 2 thing I'm seeing is even the few opportunities that are there for the ball to come out and to hit AJ so he can affect the game, the ball's not coming out on time. It's not coming out where it's supposed to. So, of course, I would be. If I knew that I was only going to get 5 opportunities with the type of offense that we have, and I don't get 4 of them, of course I'm going to be frustrated.
You're telling me, though.
Especially when I know I could affect the game.
You really believe if this team was scoring 30 and he was still not getting his numbers, you think, AJ'd be selfless. He wouldn't have any problem with that. Because I think on that one, respectfully, you're absolutely nuts.
I think that he would feel a certain way, but I don't think he would be as vocal. But he's being vocal, and he has the space to be because the offense is struggling.
Yeah. I don't
Thanks for the call, Coach
I don't
Mike.
believe
We
anything
appreciate it.
about him is selfless. I don't believe anything about him is selfless. I admire everything he complains about, I agree with. So I agree with him on his complaints, but I don't think his behavior in any way displays selfless. His blocking is excellent. So he's a good teammate on the field.
Yeah, so that's selfless.
But he has not been we have numerous examples where he's not running out patterns, where he's quitting on balls, where he's letting his anger and frustration cause him to not play hard on every single down. We have there've been 3 documented this year where he's quit on routes. So that's not selfless.
Is he the most selfless guy? No.
Well, I didn't say he was the most. I didn't say he was the least.
Well, you said I don't think anything about him is selfless.
No, I don't think that's being with his comments about his catches.
Okay.
I don't believe that is. If they were scoring 30 and he was getting his play, I think he'd be totally quiet. I think he's about the stat sheet. I think he cares about those numbers. He told us it just after the Super Bowl, the week after, when he told us he wasn't enjoying winning a Super Bowl.
Right, but
because he didn't feel like it was a big enough part of it.
I think part of it is him, but I think part of it is that he knows he's a really good football player. And he knows that the Eagles team is at their best when they utilize him the way that he should be utilized. So part of it is selfish. Part of it is he should be selfish because he's the $100 million wide receiver
the
one.
The team was at its best last year because of the ground game.
Yeah, I got you.
And he wasn't happy with that.
I should say,
he put it in print, his words. He wasn't happy with that.
But here's the deal. We all agree they need to find a way to get A.J. Brown involved because he can't have 3 targets. Like, that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
Like,
it's a joke.
Jamar Chase having 23 targets, a bit egregious. But, like, Jamar Chase averages probably around 12, 13 a game.
Well, he's got Joe Flacco. He's
Connor, I think we are.
Three targets?
Connor, I think we're on the same page, like, pretty much as far as but I don't believe he's being selfless with this complaining. I don't think at all.
You're just a bridge further than I am.
Coming up next.
We're on the same path.
Coming up next, Andrew DeCecco will be here soon. A little bit of a traffic jam. So, John, before Andrew gets here, you're going to try to make me feel better about Sunday's game against the Lions. Reasons.
I'm going to. If you're not happier after hearing these,
we'll see about it.
It's a you problem.
All right. We'll hear those next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's all about live betting on the BetParx Sportsbook app. I love the BetParx app. I love the Parx Casino, too, up in Ben Salem. But sometimes I can't make the 45-mile drive out from Landview. So what do? I can play blackjack, craps, roulette, or, more importantly, the sports betting, because that's really why I'm on the BetParx app. I love it. And college football's heating up. It's getting to November. You got everybody jockeying for the college football playoff. Birds 2-point favorites on Sunday. Get in on it right now on the BetParx app. You can live bet any game, and new users get up to $1,000 in casino bonus back if they're down in the first 24 hours. So you can get all the details for you there at betparx.com. I would tell you right now, if you think that the Birds are winning in this game, don't worry about it. Just lay the points, take it, they'll win the game, and then start to put together your same game parlay. It can get a little tricky. That Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, it might be something. And I'm looking at the over in this game as something that could be tasty. There's always another way to win. Got to be 21. Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Michigan. Should you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds talk offensive troubles. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for their matchup Sunday night with the Lions at Lincoln Financial Field. Another primetime game against a big-time NFC North opponent, and with that comes conversation about the offense because it didn't look great in Green Bay, and we've seen inconsistent play this year. A.J. Brown's been vocal about the offensive shortcomings, and he talked about his recent comments on Twitch that were critical of the offense.
So me making light of my situation on Twitch with my friend, that's something I'm not apologizing for, because like I said, you got eyes, you can see that. And so that's me trying to laugh through my situation.
So no apology from AJ for those comments, but says we should be able to see it. And if you watch this Eagles offense, you can tell they're not looking as smooth as we would expect them to. We'll see how they look Sunday night against Detroit. Eagles coordinators meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. Flyers almost had a game-winning goal in the final minute, but it was disallowed due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. They're back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road to Detroit tomorrow night. Major League Baseball handed out some awards last night. Paul Skeens won National League Cy Young. Christopher Sanchez finished second. Rob Thompson was third for the National League Manager of the Year voting. We'll talk to Andrew DeCecco from the 8 o'clock hour till the end of the show. This update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
By the way, speaking of I-76, yesterday, am I crazy to have done this?
To take I-76? I do it every day, and I feel crazier for doing it.
So, Connor, you know the ramp getting toward our neck of the woods. Well, you're home, and then I go a little bit further because I'm a Jersey guy. But the City Line Avenue exit.
Yeah.
And then you're on the road for like half a mile before you can either go to the boulevard or go to 76. And I've gone to the Boulevard for 2 years. Now I take 76 back home. There was a dog on the side of the road. I pulled over because I wanted to help the dog.
Right, absolutely.
And the dog, unfortunately, was scared, and I clapped.
Did it run away?
Ran away, so I backed my car up. There's traffic coming.
Right.
Sound like Jonathan Gannon.
You were afraid the car was going to get hit, that someone was going to hit the dog.
And so I kept backing up, but then I was afraid that the dog was going to bolt into traffic, so I had to stop.
So what happened with the dog?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping that somebody could give us an update, because here's the deal. I then finally got on to 76 because I couldn't loop around.
Right.
There was a car that was pulled over, and this woman was looking through the woods. And I was like, oh, my God, is that her dog? So I pull over. I go, excuse me, is that your dog? She's wearing a Green Bay Packers knit cap, by the way.
No.
So right after the Eagles game. And she goes, no, it's not my dog. There were 5 other cars pulled over just a minute ago trying to get this dog, but the dog kept running away. So hopefully somebody could give an update. But I tried doing my due diligence.
That's sweet of you.
Now, here's
That's
the funny
sweet. That's
thing.
really good.
Here's where dogs get us. All right? I wouldn't do that for a human. Because I think the human's nuts. What are you doing walking on the side of the road?
If it was like a kid.
Well,
if it was a kid on the side of the road, you would, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
but
you would do it for a human.
You would do it for a human.
Fine. Sorry. For a kid, I would do that. But this dog, why is it that...
It's a wild thing. You just running people down with your car because they're not dogs?
No, I'm not running them over.
Said you wouldn't do it for a person.
How did you pull that out?
You said you wouldn't do it for a person.
No,
I'm
I
not
wouldn't
pulling
pull.
anything.
I wouldn't
Johnny,
pull.
didn't that sound crazy by
I
you?
would not pull over for a random person walking down the side of the road because I think they're crazy for doing that. But when I see the dog, it's helpless. I'm trying to save it.
That's nice of you.
So hopefully somebody can give me an update on the dog.
Hopefully somebody got that dog.
Clearly, we're not sending our best if we got Packers fans out here trying to help.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? All right, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, 8 Beasley. Media Group Station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Johnny, try to make me feel better. Good luck.
Okay, Connor, I want a ruling on these, all of them, from you. Because if Andrew doesn't feel better about the Eagles' chances on Sunday, after hearing my 3 reasons, that it's just a him problem.
Okay.
And so obviously the text line will be open and everybody can join in. Okay, number 1. Detroit versus good teams under Dan Campbell is very different. Detroit, when they play good teams, is average as grits, as a Southern expression for you, especially away from home. They're a 6-3 overall team. The current playoff teams they've played, they're 2-2. Since Dan Campbell has been their coach, they're a below 500 team significantly, like around 44% against teams that end up making the playoffs.
I would take out the first year.
No, you can take. Well, you can do that.
They went what?
Okay.
What were they? 1 in 15.
Then they're around a 56% team. Okay. Detroit versus good teams is completely different, but I admire the fact that they beat up on bad teams. Like I don't discount when good teams beat up on bad teams. Like that's what you're supposed to do. So I'm impressed by that, but that's where you got to say you're one of the good teams, and it's usually a coin flip at the best that they win the game. Detroit outside of the dome. Well, since Dan Campbell took over, they're 45-31-1. And if you take out that crappy first year, he's right on Nick Sirianni's heels as far as regular season being a really, really good coach and winning games. But he's 17-16-1 outdoors. He's a 500 coach outdoors.
You saying Dan Campbell's a dome merchant?
He absolutely is.
Well, it might not be Dan Campbell's coaching. It might be Jared Goff's tiny hands.
But it's what? Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why as you look at this game, the Detroit Lions outside of a dome and the Detroit Lions indoor domes is a completely different team. They're 28-15.
56 degrees Sunday.
They are 66% winning percentage in domes under Dan Campbell, and throw in that first crappy year. So
they went 3-13-1 that year.
And by the way, he took over a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell outside of dome, 17-16-1 in his tenure.
Okay.
A mediocre coach at best. And yes, the link is a huge advantage. The coaching edge with Nick Sirianni. Okay, we're going to throw out Dan Campbell. And it's funny is I even anticipated Andrew would say, well, the first year with Dan Campbell, we can't count it. So I'm not going to count the first 9 and 8 year with Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni in home games, 9-2 in 2022, 6-2 in 2023, 11-1 in 2024, 3-1 this year. He's 29-6 in home games. And by the way, the legion of playoff teams that he's beaten in the 29-6 against playoff teams, he has better than a .650 winning percentage at home. The Eagles are the better team.
Okay.
The Eagles are the team that has won Super Bowl and gone to another one in the same tenure as this other coach. And to me, there's three good reasons why Detroit is coming here, where they're extremely average when they go on the road. And Nick Sirianni has been nothing but an absolute gauntlet head coach at home, 29-6 in the last 4 years.
Good history lesson. Thank you, Professor Kincade.
Hopefully that gives you three solid reasons, and there are no opinions offered there. Not one opinion was offered in that segment.
Judge Thomas rules fair.
Everything fair. And if you're not going, oh, wait a minute. There are a lot of factors that point to the Eagles being in a very good position to win this game. I feel better about the Eagles' chances to win Sunday night than I felt they on Monday.
What's the most amount of points you think the Lions will score against the Eagles?
26.
So you think that's the most amount that they will score?
26. I'll set it right now. 26 is the most points I see them scoring. Do you go over or under, Connor?
Oh, I'd go over.
I'd go over.
I
Okay.
can't cap that team at anything less than 30.
Will the Eagles, what's the most points you think they'll score against the Lions?
31.
60,
31, 34. No, I'll go 34.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're low 30s for both of these teams as where their ceiling is.
I think the offense is going to have a night. And I'm telling you right now, I think the offense is going to have a night.
All right.
On Sunday.
What's the over-under on this game?
I have not. I'm going to look right now for you.
Let's see what Vegas is telling us about the chances they score.
I'm going to say 50.
I'm going to say 54 and a half.
It is.
What is it? Let me look.
I got you.
It is
46 and a half. Wow.
Oh my
so
gosh.
maybe we're overestimating
That's it.
this.
And by the way, the Eagles are now 2.5 point favorites
Yeah, it's gone
as
up.
of this
The
week.
line is going. The money is going towards the Eagles.
Here's who the Lions are to me. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. They're that bully that loves to beat up on the little weak kids in school. And then the second that you see them stand up against someone their own size, you realize they can't really fight.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the Lions are a team that, point blank, they're a 500 club under Dan Campbell when they leave home.
Who are you, Dave Dombrowski?
That's all it is. Club.
Well, maybe we can get more insight from a true football man who joins us now in studio for the remainder of the show from inside the Birds and 97.5 The Fanatic. The great Andrew DeCecco joins us. Traffic fun today?
Oh, yeah. Great. It was a blast. I had to find an alternate route. 76 was like a parking lot.
All right.
Oh, you look comfortable today, by the way. For those on the YouTube channel, you've upped the wardrobe this year because that is a comfortable-looking hoodie there.
You comfortable?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable.
It's
I'm always
really
comfortable.
good.
Now,
Good look.
first and foremost, we have questions for DeCecco coming up in the next segment. So I would like the people to start sending them in now. Text in questions for DeCecco, 610-632-0975. Could be anything about the Eagles. Could be about A.J. Brown. Can be about the game on Sunday against the Lions. Could be the Lions themselves. Questions for Andrew DeCecco. Me and John put our feet up. Connor has the questions, but start sending them in now so Connor can put them to the side. We do that in about 5 minutes, 610-632-0975. Because we only got 2 minutes left, we can't dive too deep into the A.J. Brown stuff just yet. But first and foremost, just what did you make of his availability yesterday? I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was great. I thought he was candid, honest, stood on business, and I agree with him. I agree with what he said about the offense and what they need to do to move forward. You can't tout yourself as this great offense and continuously struggle each and every week. And I think that his message is well received. Do I always agree with how it's distributed? No, probably not. But he's 100% right. And until you spread awareness into what the problem is offensively, I mean, it's going to continuously be a problem until, you get down the line.
So what do you think that problem is? Because earlier in the show, we started off the show by playing the clip from Sirianni's presser yesterday when Tim McManus asked him the question about winning the turnover battle. And I understand you always want to win the turnover battle, but it almost seems like that's their identity sometimes, where it's like, all right, don't turn the ball over. All right. Against the Lions, can you have that mentality going in this game?
You can't. You can't do that. Like A.J. Brown said, you cannot do that, not in this league. You can't continuously play conservative, and you have to open things up. But there's a lot of reasons behind what the offense looks like. So, I mean, I agree with A.J. getting his messaging out, and the Eagles would be wise to listen to him because good things happen when he gets the football.
You said you think his message was well received. It didn't seem it from Nick Sirianni. It didn't seem it from Jalen Hurts as far as them having to talk about him delivering that message. If they're not listening to him, is it well received? Because they're not listening to him. He's been saying this for weeks.
Well, I mean, what's not listening to him? They've answered many questions about why he hasn't gotten the football in certain situations. They've talked about AJ himself talked about clouded coverage. I think they're going to make a conscious effort to get him the football. In a game like this, you have to get your best players the football. That's not rocket science. But, you can hear someone and understand where they're coming from and still not be able to necessarily, I don't even want to say placate, but, be able to acquiesce to what they're hoping to see. Offensively, that was a dreadful performance, but they did enough to win the football game.
All right, so Andrew DeCecco is with us for the remainder of the show. Next segment, questions for DeCecco. Anything Eagles related that you can think of, whether it's about this upcoming game, state of the team, maybe some reaction to the Packers game still. We got some matchup stuff that we'll get into as Andrew is with us for the remainder of the show. It is Kincade and Salciunas. Questions for DeCecco next here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. Our man Andrew the Checo with us for the remainder of the show. Make sure you're listening to Unfiltered today when they announce this week's High School Athlete Performer of the Week.
I love that.
If the high school athlete in your life had an amazing game, match, track meet, or any kind of performance, get them some recognition on the radio and on TV, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Just go to 975thefanatic.com/unfiltered to nominate them. They sort through the nominations every single week, and they announce them live on the air every Thursday. The Unfiltered High School Athlete Performance of the Week is sponsored by VCSHR.
It's a great thing they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool to think for the kids that, you're going to be able to you'll be the person this week.
By the way, to let you guys know, because I've updated you on this, Clearview finally got a win.
Oh, hell yeah.
How did they get a win? They were losing by 60 every week.
They played in middle school.
Who did they play?
They beat Pemberton.
Okay.
Oh, Pemberton's in our conference.
So
at
Clearview.
RV.
Wait a minute, is Pemberton any good?
No, never. At anything.
Okay.
Clearview improved to 1-10. Pemberton fell to 1-9. Go View!
How much did they win? What was the score?
27-0.
I'll just tell you, when we played Pemberton, we couldn't use one end zone because there was a storm drain in the middle of the end zone.
gosh.
And they only had field goal posts on one side. The other side was like a storage container.
That's good.
Go View, baby.
Great win.
It was a 3-year skid that they've not won a game in.
Oh, it was a skid, all right.
All right, time now for questions for DeCecco. Football music, please. Know today's headline, so brought to us by who?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people, or if you play for the Pemberton High School football team, if you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit lundylaw.com. That's lundylaw.com.
All right, Johnny, put your feet up. What do we got?
I'm ready.
All right, so we've had a couple people ask this, and Andrew, this could be as easy as a no, but some people have been asking, is it possible the Eagles are holding stuff back offensively until later on in the year or for the postseason?
No.
I just wanted to get that out there because we've gotten like 5 texts on it.
Dallas Goddard did that in 23.
He said it in 2023.
We're holding stuff back.
We're holding, come on.
Yeah, you're not holding stuff back to put up 10 points on Monday Night Football.
No.
Who do you expect to be the calling card of this game Sunday night? The Eagles offense or the Eagles defense?
The Eagles defense. I think that they're going to continue to build off of what they showcased Monday night, and this is going to be a big game for like Jalen Phillips, Jalix Hunt, and the Eagles pass rush.
If this offense can't perform, at what point would you anticipate that Jeffrey Lurie would get involved with a mandate of some kind? Lou from Langhorne asked that.
Presumably, it wouldn't be until after the season, but the offense, with as much money as that's invested in it, it has to perform better, and that's not going to be able to prevail. This winning, by the skin of your teeth isn't going to continue to be a theme that endures under Jeffrey Lurie. They know what they have offensively and the amount of firepower that they have, and that's going to have to be something that they expand on.
Now, let me ask you, why would it have to wait till after the season? I know it's easier said than done.
Well, what are you going to do in the middle of the season? What are you going to do at this point in the season?
Dan Campbell said, I got it.
Yeah, but Nick Sirianni's already called plays before, and he gave up the reins to Shane Steichen. I mean, you guys like to lean on this Kevin Patullo thing. I sit here every Thursday, and I tell you that there's a multitude of reasons why the offense isn't meeting its expectations. So why would you make a change solely at the coordinator? That's not going to solve any of the problems.
Okay. What else we got?
All right, this texter checks in, says the issue with the offense that A.J. Brown, the plays are not being designed for him. The plays are being designed for him, but they're not designed well enough to give him the ball, or that the quarterback isn't making the decisions that would get him the ball.
I think it's a combination of both. There's times where A.J. Brown is open. You could look at multiple occasions on Monday night alone where he's been open, but there's other moving parts at play there, and Jalen Hurts has to work through his progressions. There's pressure in his face, and you have to try to compartmentalize all that. But I mean, there's also, you need to do more to free up AJ. You shouldn't have to go to great lengths to free up one of the best receivers in the NFL. Those bang 8 routes that were so lethal when he was with the Tennessee Titans, those slant routes were automatic. You got to find a way to incorporate that within the offense. He's too good of a player to be used more or less as a decoy.
So is that Sirianni, Patullo, Hurts not throwing the football?
All of it.
Because three targets is
Like, how does it not get implemented? Like you're saying,
criminal.
Yeah, I mean,
they have to implement.
I mean, there are times there where you have to be more creative in how you're scheming him open, but you shouldn't have to scheme open one of the best receivers in the NFL. He can win on 50-50 balls. They become 80-20 balls. He's good after the catch. Just get the ball in his hands. Good things happen when A.J. Brown gets the football.
But those 50-50 balls, is that against Nick Sirianni's belief of careful, not wanting to turn the football over?
I mean, they've done it before. They've closed out games by that method. I think that the ball needs to come out faster at times, and I think that the Eagles, from a play calling standpoint, need to do a better job of facilitating the football to A.J.
All right, got any more?
Oh, yeah. Those were all dinner questions. This is the dessert question because this is such up Andrew DeCecco's alley. Steven in D.C., better season through 9 games. Moro Ojomo this year or Milton Williams last year?
Moro, and I've said this back in the summer, and I appreciate the question, that he brings a little bit more juice from a pass rushing standpoint than Milton Williams does. Now, Milton Williams was a more sound run defender, but I thought that Moro Ojomo did some nice things plugging the run on Monday night, and he identified and called out that ill-fated play that Josh Jacobs fumbled on late in the game. So I think Moro Ojomo has maybe not exceeded my expectations because I had lofty expectations for him, having seen him operate in the summer. But, I mean, he's been as advertised. Everything that we've reported coming out of training camp, he's been all that and more.
By the way, I want to credit Milton Williams, who's having a hell of a season with New England. I didn't think he'd be the same player we saw without having Jalen Carter next to him, and I thought paying him $100 million was a wild thing for New England to do, but he's been tremendous for them.
He's had a great year.
He's been spectacular.
Both players have, but Moro Ojomo, 4 sacks on the season. That from a defensive tackle, that's big numbers right there.
All right, coming up next, as Andrew DeCecco joins us for the remainder of the show, you'll hear that clip that we talked about, the turnover battle. Can the Eagles just be careful with the football in Sunday's game against the Lions? What does Andrew DeCecco think we need to see? Those answers coming your way next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Guess what's back and better than ever?
The Hess truck.
I love it. The Hess truck's back, and it's better than ever. And I'm not just lying to you guys to sell the product. Last night.
You're playing with it.
Last night, we were in the basement, me and Coop. Every single Hess truck was lined. I walked down the stairs because, hang out with the kid. It's nice to hang out with your child. And he's got the Hess trucks lined up. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Well, they're working together, he told me. I'm like, that's freaking awesome, man. The Hess truck's back is better than ever. My son loves them so much. We've been giving them to him the last couple of years on Christmas Eve. That's his Christmas Eve present before we go to my sister's house. Not so much things to do for a little child there. Maybe a little bit differently now that she has a kid. But the Hess truck's been the Christmas Eve gift. And this year, 2 racers. One amazing holiday gift. The 2025 stock car racers are NASCAR-style race cars loaded with action-packed features, including 67 animated lights, 5 realistic sounds. Trust me when I say they are realistic. And a pullback motor. Available exclusively at HessToyTruck.com for $49.99 with the free standard shipping and batteries included. The Hess truck, it's back. It's better than ever.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles not getting distracted. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles, they're focused on taking care of what they need to ahead of their matchup Sunday night with the Lions at Lincoln Financial Field, at least according to head coach Nick Sirianni, because there have been numerous conversations about the offense and the issues on that side of the ball throughout the year, and A.J. Brown has been vocal about the offensive shortcomings, so Nick Sirianni was asked if that's being a distraction to the team in any way.
No, I don't think so. Again, you can only go from your interactions with everybody and the way they go about their work on a daily basis that you guys aren't able to see. But it's business as usual.
Jalen Hurts echoed the sentiment about focusing on Detroit, so we'll see how the offense looks Sunday night against those Lions. Eagles coordinators will meet with the media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. Did get a point out of that matchup. They almost had 3, the game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation, but it was disallowed due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. They're back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night. Major League Baseball handed out some of their yearly awards yesterday. Paul Skeens won National League Cy Young. Christopher Sanchez was the runner-up. Rob Thompson finished 3rd for National League Manager of the Year. This update's brought to you by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Fanatic on this Thursday morning. Our man Andrew DeCecco with us for the remainder of the show today. We just did questions for DeCecco. We thank everybody who participates in that by sending them in. Because we get to put our feet up.
I got 3 notes out of it, and it's good.
That's always good, and you can save that for tomorrow as you guys try to continue to make me feel better about Sunday's game. I don't know where Andrew's at. We'll find that out coming up in a little bit, but I want to play this clip for you. We open the show with it. Our question today, and Andrew, I'm curious to get your answer on it after you hear the audio from Nick Sirianni. Do you believe the Eagles can just flip the switch back on for the offense? Last year, a little bit earlier this year, but last year we were having similar conversations, right? And then the Steelers game happens, and Jalen sits down at the podium and says, so is that what y'all wanted to see? Yes, that is what us wanted. We all wanted to see it because we thought it was necessary, much like A.J. Brown has said time and time again. He believes they need to start throwing the ball better in order to win. One of my concerns is Nick Sirianni's belief, even though, look, he's a Super Bowl champion head coach, so I sound like an idiot for saying it, but sometimes being too careful. This was Sirianni. You'll hear Tim McManus asking the question. It was more so about trying to get everybody involved, but then you'll hear Sirianni kind of go off on his own tangent about always wanting to win the turnover battle.
Understanding that your approach on offense is limiting the turnovers, which is helping you guys win. Is it a sustainable approach from the standpoint of all the star players that you have on offense?
I don't know.
Who are all going to obviously going to want to be featured parts. Can you sustain that over a long period of time?
Well, we've been doing a good job of taking care of it for the last 2 years, and it's been pretty sustainable so far. We just got to continue that. Like I've said to you guys, you want to be able to be explosive too, but our first and foremost is always win that turnover battle. We know that's the key for us on how we take care of the football, and that goes into every element that we have, offensively, defensively, coaching. We sure spend a lot of time on it. So we've had some success here the last 2 years playing this way, and we'll continue to try to get better and work to get better. But we're definitely not gonna sway from the turnover battle.
So Andrew, do you believe they can just be very careful Sunday against the Lions? I understand some games you can have that belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just not turn the football over. Maybe against a lesser opponent. But against the Lions, can they go in with that approach? And B, do you believe they can just flip the switch and turn it back on?
No, I don't think that they can. It's not as simple as that. And if they had the running game to lean on, I would say yes. But there's been no evidence this season that they can just flip the switch and score whenever they want to. They have to be able to start playing complementary football and help the defense. The defense takes on a sizable portion of the burden here. And like A.J. Brown said yesterday, you can't keep putting a Band-Aid over it and expecting the defense and special teams to pick up the tab for an offense that should be high-flying. So they're going to have to score points in this game to alleviate some pressure from the defense, which has been admirable, but also to keep pace with the Detroit Lions because inevitably they are going to score more than 7 points in this game. I mean, I feel pretty confident saying that.
Talk about the play of the offensive line for us a little bit as far as obviously really dinged up. We look at the practice report from yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a big part of what's gone on this year, but do you think the play has improved over the past few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say, John. And yesterday, by the way, yesterday's practice report was an estimation because the Eagles held a walkthrough, but that's what it would have been had they practiced, just to clarify. It's something to keep an eye on. I mean, today we'll be keeping an eye on the offensive line and seeing where they are from a health standpoint. But it does, to me, look like they are getting healthier at the right time. And I think that bye week was really critical for someone like a Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, who it was encouraging to see him listed as limited yesterday. So he's trending in the right direction. And I think that you're going to see the running game at least take on some semblance of what they used to be, the healthier this offensive line gets.
So you constantly mention that it's not just Patullo or Sirianni's beliefs, right? It's a collaborative, and collaborative means offensive line and also Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, who did not play well. Jalen Hurts did not play well against the Packers.
He didn't play well.
He did not play well. Is there something in your mind, though, is he feeling more comfortable going to Devontae Smith at times? Because I see on third downs, He's looking at Devontae a lot more than A.J. Brown at times. Is there a comfort level, in your opinion, Jalen to Devontae more so than Jalen to A.J. right now? I'm not saying all time. I'm saying right now.
Well, I mean, and I hate using this, but A.J. is getting clouded, and he's freeing up things for teammates.
Sure.
But, I mean, Devontae is just in a rhythm right now. And the thing about this offense, and we talked a lot about it in the summer, having all these mouths to feed, there's going to be some weeks where some players don't get fed. And that's sort of a byproduct of when you have an embarrassment of riches offensively. But there's been times where Jalen has really leaned on Dallas Goedert over the middle and the intermediary levels of the field in the red zone. And there's going to be games where someone like A.J. thrives, like he did against the Minnesota Vikings and the Rams when he went over 100 yards. So, no, I don't think that he's leaning intentionally on one player as of late because – just because the numbers suggest it.
When there is when the offense isn't working and you've got this much talent to play with, is there a hierarchy of blame as far as what you would point to? This is primary reason it's not working. This is secondary reason. This is third, because you point out, well, it's not Patullo, so it's not just Patullo. So is there a hierarchy of blame, in your opinion, when you look at it and say, I think this is the primary reason it's not working, and this is more the secondary reason, and go from there?
Well, for me, it's quite simple. If the Eagles aren't able to run the football, which is foundationally what they want to do offensively, that limits what they're able to do in totality. So I look at the offensive line and the status of their health for much of the season, and they haven't been able to necessarily pave the way that they were last season. I think, to a degree, many were spoiled with the truck-sized holes that they were plowing and didn't take into account the attrition that style of play can lend itself to someone who plays on the offensive line. But I think that's part of it. And there's other times where the ball has to come out of the quarterback's hands faster. And then there's other times where the play calling needs to be better. It has to be better. And so that's why I say when you guys get on Kevin Patullo, you have to delve a little bit deeper beneath the surface and understand that there's a lot of moving parts here offensively. They're still getting to the line entirely too late, by the way. And that's impeding the ability to do the motions and everything that everybody likes to see, that somehow they believe that Kevin Patullo is against doing that. You lose that time to assess what the defense is doing and get information pre-snap.
When you see a guy like Acho, Acho or Orlovsky or them say, and even the other night on the broadcast, you heard Troy Aikman talking about it. The run concepts, they don't think look creative and strong compared to last year. Is there something to that? Or is it more just fundamentally? They think that they're telegraphing like runs. As Troy Aikman said at one point in the game last night, he goes, well, you could see that one coming. They're running right, like they're seeing
the
what
Packers
the
telegraphed it because Moro Jomo sniffed that out.
Inside zone.
At the end, yes.
I also think and you look at it and it's all hindsight, but there was a 21-yard run that Saquon Barkley had that got wiped away by a holding penalty, and all of a sudden those numbers are 23 carries for
right.
81 yards or whatever, and we're having a different conversation. So there's plays here or there. Jordan Mailata all season long has maintained that the Eagles are just a hair off from breaking something big, and I don't look at it in terms of the run concepts not being overly intricate or anything like that. I think that they need to execute when there are plays there to be made. And it wasn't a problem against the Giants. I mean, you have to deviate a little bit from the inside zone and be a little bit more creative when things aren't working. But you had, in large part, a healthy offensive line. I don't think that you had to strategize to atone for any injuries or anything like that.
My only problem with the Mailata saying we're one block or 1 inch away, I heard that a lot in 23. I remember A.J. Brown specifically. There was like a play to Kenneth Gainwell. He goes, if I was 1 inch to my left, Gainwell scores a touchdown. And like I heard that a lot that year. I can't.
You can say it for a while. You can't just keep saying it.
Right.
It's almost Thanksgiving, for God's sake.
All right, coming up next, curious after Nick Sirianni had to address the 4th and 6 shot play at the end of the game, what Andrew DeCecco's thoughts were on that. Also, what are some of the key matchups to watch on Sunday? I'm terrified of this game. Where can the Eagles capitalize and where they could potentially get hurt? Andrew DeCecco answers those questions for us next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Got to tell you.
On Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So yesterday, Nick Sirianni's press conference was not just about A.J. Brown, obviously. There was also the moments being asked about the play calling. So, Connor, can we play? I was going to say this for the next segment. I want to get to it now. Sirianni cut 6. So this was after like the third or fourth question about the 4th and 6th decision. Our own Bill Colarulo talking about how Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown kind of went off script a little bit. And this was sort of the last question that was asked of Nick Sirianni when it came to that 4th and 6th play.
Clear this up, though, because there's been a couple players who have indicated that it was a Jalen and A.J. communication that led to that.
I knew exactly what the play was that we were calling, and that was run in that moment.
So they didn't check?
I knew exactly what the play was in that moment, what we called, and what was and what did happen.
Then why do you say why?
Well, and then he also talked about that, saying, well, if the camera was always catching me talking on the sideline.
No, but what's he saying why for? It's a direct quote. It's his words. Why?
Because he's sticking up for his guys.
Seriously, stop. It's just enough. You
Well,
can
just stop sticking up for his guys? I mean,
Connor, it's okay to at some point we know it's a lie.
Okay, so then why does it matter?
What do you mean, why does it matter?
Why does it bother you so much? If you know the truth and he knows the truth and they win football games.
Because somebody's assuming that you're at that point they're not respecting you. You know it's a lie you're being told. At that point, you just say, come on, cut the crap. Like, just accept it.
I don't think it's a respect thing. I think it's a protection of his players thing. He's going to show to his players that even in the face of clear adversity, he's going to have their back.
He's gonna step up for him, regardless of how it makes him look. And
well, then, you know what it makes it look like to me? If that was the play call, it was stupid. It was stupid. There's no analytics that tell you that it's a good move. There's no common sense in football knowledge as far as the amount of time it takes off the clock or field position, that it was a good move. So to me, then, if you're going to continue then just playing that out, saying, hey, I'm gonna stick with the script. I knew the play and I knew what was going on. Why? I was singing a song.
So Andrew, the belief is that they checked into that specific route. What do you make of still potentially going for it? Because he did say he knew what was going on. The decision was either field goal, which we all agreed, tough spot to kick the field goal in, punt, or go for it, but maybe a different route. So the fact that he is confirming that they were still going to go for it, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, my stance hasn't changed since Tuesday morning. I would have punted the football.
Yeah.
Pooch punt it. You have one of the best punters in the NFL. In fact, Jalen Hurts was actually asked yesterday if he'd ever pooch punted before, and he said it many years ago when he was in high school.
Oh, like a Randall Cunningham?
Yeah. Well, I thought that was an interesting question because he said he's done it for his when his father asked him to do it, he did it in high school. But I mean, I would have just pooch punted it and pin them back and let your defense continue to thrive as they were all game, and don't even put yourself in that situation.
All right. Give us some matchups. First, give us some matchups that benefit the Eagles for Sundays, because I'm terrified of this game. But let's go with the good things first. What matchups benefit the Eagles this Sunday against the Detroit Lions?
I would say the defensive tackles, Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, Jalen Carter versus Coyote Awashika, who was on the Eagles practice squad for a while. Good story. And Graham Glasgow, their center. I think that's an advantage for the Eagles. The Lions do have a relatively solid offensive line, but that's where I'm going to be looking. And then on the corners, Terrion Arnold is a player who was drafted in the first round and sort of equated and compared to Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell is head and shoulders the better player, but there's going to be opportunities to attack Terrion Arnold. And this is a game where A.J. Brown has to be featured. If you want to be able to keep pace with a team like the Lions, you aren't going to be able to play passive. You have to be willing to push the ball down the field to get A.J. involved in the short to intermediate levels and run after the catch. And I think that advantage favors the Eagles, in my estimation. And then you also have to look at the defensive line of the Detroit Lions, where they have Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, who was drafted right before the Eagles got Milton Williams, and he's a good run stuffer. Those are two players that the Eagles are going to have to account for, and I think that Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson did a tremendous job sort of neutralizing Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary on Monday night, and it doesn't get much easier. It gets a little easier going against Aiden Hutchinson, but that's going to be a big determining factor in this one.
All right.
When you, does that make you feel any better? When you hear that,
I'm curious to hear the opposite, which is
Okay.
the matchups that would concern you, Mr. DeCecco.
Well, Jamison Williams, the wide receiver for the Lions, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They also have Jahmyr Gibbs, who can get out there in space. Jahmyr Gibbs has 32 catches on the season. Second in targets for them is Sam Laporta, their tight end, who's really dynamic. He can work the second level, and he's a safety valve for Jared Goff. Jamison Williams is averaging 17.6 yards per catch. And I view him as sort of as the X factor who can get behind the secondary. If they catch you napping, if they catch an advantage, they're going to try and pounce on that. And that could be something that turns the tides for them if he's able to slip past the corner. And Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Cooper DeJean is something that I will be fascinated to watch how that unfolds. Because if you look at, I go back to the Adam Thielen matchup last season with Cooper DeJean, even in training camp, and this is not an apt comparison at all, I understand that, but there were times in one-on-ones where a player of that build was able to win in with the short area quickness and being able to separate the top of those shorter routes. And I think that's going to be Cooper's biggest test, arguably his biggest test to date. So that's something that to definitely keep an eye on. The two-headed rushing attack of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is probably one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL, but he's a dual threat, and bringing him down and tackling in open space is going to be paramount. And so that's why I had a conversation with Adoree Jackson yesterday, who Nick Sirianni said played really well against the Packers, and I tend to agree with him.
Did Cooper have a good game on Monday night? Because it was weird. He got flagged for the 2 penalties, if not 3. I know he had 2. Did you see anything when you rewatched the game?
Yeah, I thought he had a tough game. He gave up a couple of catches that he wouldn't ordinarily have done, and the penalties as well. So he'll bounce back. I think he's one of the best football players on the team and one of the best players at his position in the league. He's entitled to have a down game, but I also have seen enough of him to believe that there will be a big bounce back.
All right, let's go to Nick in Riverside. Nick, you're on Kincade Salciunas. What's up, dude?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good,
How are you,
buddy.
Nick?
So, I have a few things to say about AJ.
All right.
I feel like the coverage that he gets opens up the rest of the receiving core that we have, and I think the complaining that he's doing just needs to stop. I think it's ridiculous. Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong for saying that?
I don't think you're wrong for saying the complaining. However, Nick, and we appreciate the call, I think A.J. Brown is right that he needs to be involved more in the offense for them to win big picture. I'm not talking about a Monday night game against Packers, which, by the way, great win.
That's a big win.
But the Eagles are no longer at a standard where it's just win games or just try to win the division. We've been talking about Super Bowl or conference championship, and you're not going to win a Super Bowl with A.J. Brown getting 3 targets.
I mean, and the offense needs to be better. AJ's trying to help.
Yeah.
Do I agree with the methods, again, of distribution? No, but he's doing it because he realizes that you can't keep sweeping things under the rug and saying, well, a win's a win.
Right.
And, you look at the record dating back to week 6 coming out of the bye week last year. Eventually, you're going to be tested, and that's going to reveal itself if you don't get it cleaned up. And I think that he's doing a nice job of spreading awareness and putting a spotlight on it.
Coming up next, what's the biggest difference for the Eagles offense this year versus last year? Because a lot of people keep on pointing out, well, last year this was going on, and last year, and look what happened. They won the Super Bowl. What's the biggest difference in Andrew DeCecco's mind? We get that answer next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, let's talk about your FanDuel Sportsbook app. Every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. And FanDuel's got their Thursday touchdown jackpot, where you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. To get in on tonight's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown bet before the game kicks off. So I wouldn't ever really bet anybody on the Jets. So look at the Patriots. Maybe think Trevion Henderson scores a touchdown tonight. What you do is you bet him for an anytime touchdown. And if he does score a touchdown, your bet hits. But if he's also the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll also get a share of bonus bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in, must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-trouble bonus bets that expired 21 days at the receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
AJ not apologizing. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are getting ready for their matchup Sunday night with the Lions at the Link, a big-time game, a prime-time spot, and there have been numerous conversations in the lead-up to Sunday's game about the offense and the issues on that side of the ball this year. AJ Brown talked about his recent comments on Twitch that were critical of the offense.
So me making light of my situation on Twitch with my friend, that's something I'm not apologizing for. Because like I said, if you got eyes, you can see that. And so that's me trying to laugh through my situation. So
And it has been a tough year for A.J. Brown when you look at the numbers that he's been able to, or rather not been able to, put up through the Eagles offense. So we'll see how the offense looks Sunday night against Detroit. Eagles coordinators will meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. They had a game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation that was waved off due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. So close, but still got that 1 point. They're back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night. Major League Baseball handed out some of their yearly awards last night. Paul Skeens won the National League Cy Young. Phillies' Christopher Sanchez in second place. And Rob Thompson, third place for National League Manager of the Year voting. Andrew DeCecco remains with the guys for the remainder of the show. This update's brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, one of our questions today is whether or not you believe the Eagles offense can just turn it on. And Andrew, you have already said no. You don't think that they can just flip the switch and all of a sudden it looks great. So earlier today, one of our texters, and I forget who it was, sorry, it was a couple of hours ago, said, well, why wouldn't you think so? We saw it last year. I would like for you to explain the differences from this year to last year. We have, but I'm curious. You're the football guy here, all right? People hate the evil media radio hosts. So what are the differences from this Eagles team to last year's team where you would not believe that they can just flip the switch?
Well, first of all, if you're basing it solely off this season, and we are, there's no evidence that this offense could just turn it on. In fact, there's been many times this season where it looks like they're laboring. There's plays left on the field. There's sequencing issues offensively. There's just a multitude of reasons that point to that. And I guess to go back to the basics here, if they're not able to run the football, which they were able to do last season at a remarkable clip, the offense is always going to be hindered because now if you're not able to throw, you're not able to run the football, you're having to scratch and claw your way down the field. And so you can't just look at it and say, oh, they're playing the Lions this week. They're going to flip the switch and everything's going to turn right around. No, this is something that they're going to have to make a conscious effort to hone in on the details and execute the plays that are there to be made. And who knows? In a game like this, you may have to pull out all the stops. You may have to get creative, especially in the red zone. This is not a game where they can afford to be conservative.
Do you believe the Eagles have a coaching edge in this one against Detroit? Because Dan Campbell, I think, gets slighted as much as Nick Sirianni does.
He does
as a coach, and I think he's I think he's a fantastic coach.
Bill Colarulo slights him all the time.
I think he's a fantastic coach.
I think Dan Campbell doesn't get enough credit, and I know he's not in the business of getting credit, but he is slighted, at least in my estimation. And I also believe that Nick Sirianni, for some reason, remains slighted, despite his track record, despite his ability to galvanize a team and get everyone on the same page and have them ready each and every week. That's not easy to do, certainly not year after year with constant turnover on the roster. So I think the Eagles have a slight advantage because they've played and they've won in many big games under this tandem of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and a lot of the leaders on that team. But Dan Campbell, we'll see what he looked okay.
I think he's a hell of a coach.
He looked okay. He's calling plays now.
Now, it's amazing going back to last week, Monday. A.J. Brown getting 3 targets, 2 of which on the opening drive. So clearly, if they're still, scripting plays, it's let's get the ball to A.J. What happens afterward? I understand it's defenses do coverage and all that. I get it. But, how can you script 2 targets early on for A.J. Brown and then him getting nothing the rest of the game?
Yeah, it's the flow of the game, and I think a lot of it also had to do with the conservative nature. Saquon Barkley carried 22 times despite the running game not really being able to get much traction. And I go back to the Micah Parsons effect. I have to imagine that their primary objective going into that game was don't let Micah Parsons beat you. Don't hold on to the ball longer than you have to. Get rid of it. Make conscious decisions with the football where you're not allowing long developing routes to happen. And, they seem to be okay with settling for the field goal before the half and doing things that when they are in the red zone, they've been aggressive. So I look at the whole personality of the game and I attribute it to just that, them being a little bit more conservative to atone for the Rashawn Garys and the Micah Parsons of the world and don't let them make a play in a closely contested game that can alter the complexion of it.
It's funny, I'll jump ahead because I had a Micah Parsons question for you. I think the Eagles have whatever their game plan is to make him, I guess, I don't want to say a non-factor because he's a major factor that you constantly have to prepare for him.
Mm-hmm.
But his impact against the Eagles in his career is minuscule compared to what he does as a great player. What is it? What is it that this one matchup seems to always work in their favor?
Yeah, well, teams have success running at him, and the Eagles do a really good job of putting him in constant flux. And there's a quote, I forget who said it, that if you can't beat him, read him. And they read what he does, and they're able to anticipate it. And, Jordan Mailata saw a lot of Micah Parsons, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for the game that he had aside from the penalties.
Sure.
And Fred Johnson stepping in for Lane Johnson much of that game. you didn't really hear any of the Packers stars along that defensive line make a lot of plays.
Big Fred, man.
I have a question for you about Fred Johnson, something that I brought up on Monday, but I do want to get a couple text messages here first. What do we got on the text line, Connor? You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
We have a couple people that have been bringing up this point. Chad from Lancaster is the one we'll go to here. But he says this week feels like 2 years ago when the 49ers came into town, hammered the Birds, distractions around this team, offense is struggling, and it turned the season for poor. And a couple other people have texted in asking, does it feel like that? And do you see this as a turning point of this season, either going great from here or down into the dumps?
This is like the fifth time this week that I've heard that comparison. And the reason why I say no definitively is because the Eagles have a defense that's ascending right now. And that defense back in 2023, I mean, I don't need to run through some of the names, the Bradley Robies of the world, the Shaq Leonards and all that. And
please stop.
They were older, they were slower, and they weren't nearly as dominant as this team, not even close. So they're not going to let that happen. And then offensively, they have enough talent there that, in theory, they should be able to get things rolling. We've seen it in spurts and glimpses, not consistent enough, but we've seen them play, whether it's 1 or 2 quarters. They have to play a complete game against this team. But the reasons why I just listed are that's exactly why I don't envision a game like the San Francisco 49ers game of 23.
I don't see them getting pushed around.
I did say that. Physically. I did say, though, if they were to lose Sunday against the Lions, which is a strong possibility, they have to look good the next week against the Cowboys. Or that fear that you heard right there, because it wasn't necessarily them losing to the Niners. I know we have found out Lane Johnson straight up said they stole our soul that day. But when they lost to the Niners, I think people were just angry because of all the back and forth with San Francisco. It was then the next game against the Cowboys that they lost, and then the Seahawks game that they lost, which started freaking everybody out in this city.
And it freaked them out too, obviously.
If they lose to Detroit, they need to have a good game the following week against Dallas. They have to.
Yeah, I mean, in that point, the proverbial dam would have collapsed. But, look, I think they're going to be much more efficient offensively than they were against the Packers. Will that be enough? Can they be consistent enough? We're going to have to find out. But I think that they're going to have to devise a game plan that maybe goes against their conventional wisdom, where they're pushing the ball down the field, taking more chances, being more aggressive, because the Lions, regardless of how stout this Eagles defense is, they've proven that they can score points. Jared Goff, second in the league with 20 passing touchdowns, ninth in the NFL with 2,235 passing yards. They scored 31. I think they averaged 31.4 points a game. So, I mean, they're going to find a way to get into the end zone.
I said going into Monday night, if the Eagles split, the 2 games going in. You split Green Bay, Detroit, and you look good in both games, but you just come up with a split.
Mm-hmm.
I would walk away and be totally fine. Now, win both, I'm going to be thinking 1 seed. Lose both, I would have said sound the alarm. They already won the one that I didn't think they were going to win. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you can understand there's pressure, and a lot of people are going to feel that pressure you're talking about, Andrew, is that they're feeling anxiousness because they're just thinking Detroit's a juggernaut.
Yeah, and they are. Yeah,
they can be. Yeah.
But, I would also
say
they
can lose to Minnesota, too, and look like crap just 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And that's a great point. And you look at what they were able to do this season. They went into Arrowhead, and they won. They went into U.S. Bank Stadium, where the Vikings play. They won that game. They went into Lambeau, and they won that game as well. There's not going to be a moment that's too big for this team, and every single time they've been prepared and ready to go. So I wouldn't worry about that aspect. It becomes more, can you continue to evolve as an offense? Can you reach your potential? And I think that's the awareness that A.J. Brown's trying to put out there before you get too far down the line, you're not able to rectify it.
All right, speaking of the evolution, as you're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, A. Beasley, Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. I brought this up on Monday, and you can tell me if I'm unfair in this opinion. So the jumbo package, it's great, right? It almost feels like it worked last game against the Giants, so now it's going to be used a lot moving forward. And I get the sense that Sirianni sometimes, and this is not a Patullo thing, this is Sirianni's beliefs, finds something that works and says, all right, we're just going to keep doing that. To me, a defense will eventually figure it out, unless you're that dominant, which last year they were. Running the football, they were that dominant that nobody could stop them no matter what they were doing. Do you almost get that sense where they're almost very comfortable with the things that they do, and once they find something that works, they're just going to keep doing it?
Well, what did Chip Kelly say? Mass kicks ass.
Yeah.
And I think when you add another player who can add some size and physicality to the offensive line, that's always a good thing. And that wasn't just the Giants game that they did that. That was trending in that direction from the Vikings game. And no one was saying anything when it was working. And I think that is something that can work. Now, you don't want to do it at the expense of the reason why they're doing it is because they're not getting solid production in 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends.
Right.
Grant Calcaterra and Kylan Granson. I think there is a world where you can utilize someone like Cameron Latu, who's another fullback / tight end and does have blocking prowess and can catch the football, and you give yourself more optionality there. I think you could stand to incorporate him a little bit more if you're trying to become more block centric in a particular.
The only reason why I don't love it is that now AJ's off the field. Not that they use him, but he was off the field during these packages, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but Fred's done some good things in the run game, clearing out space.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, you mentioned all those impressive wins that the Eagles have had. Is it just as simple as looking at them and seeing that they are 7-2? Adam Schefter tried shutting us down yesterday. You'll hear from him coming up next. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Yeah, in a good way.
It's a good way. Dan White and Associates in Glen Mills today. Drive on by, make a donation, canned goods, bag of canned goods. Go to the store, pick some of them up, or maybe you have an unwrapped toy for a kid that can be donated. They're getting a jump start on the holidays. Then you're going to be given an apple pie, a pumpkin pie, or a pecan.
I love that.
So, which would you be choosing if you were dropping off and coming by?
I'm a big pumpkin pie guy.
So you'd pick the pumpkin pie.
It's my favorite of the pies.
You and Mel Kiper, as I've told you, Mel eats pumpkin pie for breakfast every day, and has for like 30 years. Same breakfast. What about you?
Pumpkin pie, cherry pie.
You'd be picking the pumpkin pie. Is it just because it's Thanksgiving?
No,
if I offered you this in May,
pie.
if this was May,
I would eat pumpkin pie in May.
And I didn't just say cherry pie because of the Warrant song, which I like.
Which is a good one.
Cheese my
Connor?
cherry pie.
Is it a?
I don't like pie. I'm not a bakery, cake, pie. No, I don't have a sweet tooth, really.
Okay.
All right, I got it. So.
But you eat bagel bites.
Yeah,
You
40
ate pizza bites.
Pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls.
Pizza
40
rolls.
pizza rolls. Ridiculous. Real quick, one
Need
more
my
note.
protein.
I just saw something.
What?
Is this back-to-back? You were here when we talked about the Farmer's Almanac, right?
Yes.
That was last week.
They're out of business.
So back-to-back weeks, I see something from the previous evening.
What?
Do you know the final penny was pressed at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia yesterday? The final penny, which, by the way, the penny needs to go. The penny is the most irrelevant coin of the bunch. But what do you do if you're owed 4 cents on something?
Keep it.
Bless you.
I say keep it. No, but you have to. No, the penny needs to exist. It needs to exist.
Just for mathematics.
Right.
But, like, I hate the penny. Like, if I'm not picking up pennies. You know what I mean? So what do we do?
Were you ever a child? They throw pennies in the fountain.
Yeah.
You don't pick up a penny?
No, I'm saying now I don't.
Really?
As a 31-year-old, what? If you find a penny on the ground, you're picking it up?
I pick up coins. I do. I really do. I'm not too proud to pick up a coin.
I think that pennies have a place.
I think there's something to it. Yes, pennies or nickels or dimes or
change
quarters.
for everyone.
Yes, like why not?
Don't fight it, man. Don't fight
carry. Now I never carry coins on me, but I will drop them off I'll drop coins off if I have coins. I'll stack them in the little dish in the car.
Sure.
And then I'll put them in and I'll stick them in the pour box. Do something with them.
Yeah, just understand that it's not going to change. Just accept it.
Back in 1793, this is part of the story on Action News, a penny could get you a biscuit, a candle, or a piece of candy.
Yeah, but those biscuits probably sucked.
No, they were probably made with love.
I would imagine the cooking was pretty good. Well, first of all, I have not found only the biscuit. What's the biscuit place?
Oh, she was tremendous.
What is it? The biscuit
lady.
Biscuit lady?
Betty's Biscuits?
Well, I don't know. Whatever
That's a
the
really creative name.
The biscuit lady last week. I feel so bad that we don't know the name.
Those
delicious. Are
Yeah.
the first biscuits I've had north of the Mason-Dixon line that I say could rival some good Southern biscuits because there's not a lot of great biscuits.
By the way, you'll appreciate this. According to U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach, not
Father Beach, who taught us in high school.
Not the safety for the Lions.
Okay.
The taxpayers will save $56 million now that we're done pressing the penny. How about that? You guys missed the penny.
Yeah,
now?
I got to see the study.
You guys missed the penny now.
I got to see. Yeah, I got to see the study on this.
I'm not buying
Where'd you
that.
get that? Where'd you get that off the
That's
onion?
a bunch of crap.
I got to go back and do a little
How's
bit
it
more
saving
research.
us
I'd rather
56
bring
million?
back Rashad Penny than the actual penny.
You don't mean that.
You really don't.
As the economics major here, I'm not buying those numbers.
You bringing up the defensive names from 2023 gave me the chills.
Oh yeah, dude, that was just
like somebody walking over my grave.
That's why you shouldn't equate the two.
Yeah, totally different year.
All right. Adam Schefter tried shutting us down yesterday, Mr. DeCecco. I want you to hear it. We were asking him about the Eagles and obviously the final play and everything, and this was his response.
I feel like they won the game in Green Bay. It's two of the top seeds in the NFC. It's in Green Bay. They won the game. I don't care if they won by 3 or 30. I don't care that they went off script or stayed on script. They won the game. They're sitting there with the number 1 seed in the NFC. Don't care. Don't care. I know you're going to try to find something with the drama and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. Like they're doing what they should be doing. They're winning games. They're creating it themselves, but they're winning. So you can have the stuff and you can have the win. I'm okay. As long as they're winning, the stuff is fine. It is what it is. Like they overcame it.
All right. Do you think as long as they're winning, everything's fine?
I mean, that's a loaded question.
Hell yeah, man. It's a loaded show.
We want loaded questions for you. Loaded for bear.
I think if they're winning football games, to poke and prod, to me, is nonsensical. I mean, but then again, I view things through a different lens because of what I do for work.
Sure.
Now, that's not to say that every win is created equal. There's imperfections, and you have to talk about that, but there's nuance to every conversation and why maybe it's not sustainable the way that they're winning. You know, you can look back on the track record and say, well, they've done it for this amount of time, and they protect the football, and these stats tell you this, and this. All it takes is one time against a preeminent opponent, or even, as we've learned earlier this season, the opponent doesn't even have to be a viable contender for anything. In the New York Giants, if you're not on your A game that day, you can't make it so that you get kind of knocked off your perch, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, I think too much is made. There's too many stories that are made and conversation and discourse off of wins. I don't quite understand it. I understand that you guys have to talk about that and everyone in this type of medium. But for me, I mean, I look at the Detroit Lions and I start focusing on that week and breaking things down and looking at how they could, I guess, make a more convincing win. How can they make it more sustainable instead of looking at what happened on the 4th and 6 and harping on that, or the A.J. Brown thing and harping on that? I try to look at it from a different angle.
Okay. But could you use like a previous game like Green Bay and say you can't do that against the Lions?
Yeah. Sure.
And so,
but you also have to point out, I mean, for me, I would say what they need to clean up. Not that they just can't do it, not blaming somebody, saying what they need to do to improve and trying to figure out why that continuously happens and get that on the right path.
All right, now I have an even more difficult question. Can you be a fan of cakes but hate pies?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like they're the same family.
No, they're not.
I know they're different.
I think they're completely
My
different.
man 215 J Philly, he says, I hate pies in general.
I think pie
He did say if it's a heavy dough crust apple pie, he can dig it.
But what if there's
But he
some like
hates
ice cream?
cakes.
What if there's like ice cream accompanying it?
Well, yeah, and you can do that with both.
But a pie, though, is I'm very much textures thing.
Oh, yeah, you're not. Yeah.
I'm one of those freaks with textures.
I'm not a filling guy.
So I can understand that some people would feel that way.
What,
I
dude?
don't. A blueberry pie to me, ice cold, by the way.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Ice cold blueberry pie slice. A little Cool Whip on top.
Do you have any, like...
I'm cool with an ice cream cake from Carvel.
Hell, dude,
When
my wife and I...
what it was?
We get
Sissy
'em-
Puss? Was it Sissy Puss? Was the one? That was the cat. Sissy Puss was the
you
cat.
could
at
just get a
Carvel.
standard one.
No, my wife and I still get it.
What?
Like every once... Yeah,
You
you go to ShopRite. There's a fridge specifically for the Carvel ice cream
It
cake.
is
Do
tremendous.
they have Fudgy the Whale too?
No, I just get the normal...
Or Sissy Puss?
the blue...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
That
But
was the names they used to sell them. As
They got the
things.
crumbles on the outside.
I get the
Bro,
standard one. It's very good.
It's quality, dude.
tremendous.
I love it, man.
All right, now for a word from our sponsors.
Coming up next, how different are the Lions with Dan Campbell calling plays? It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, the Fanatic. Oh, let's talk about your house. All right. Can you believe that this year is almost over? No, I actually can't believe that it's almost over. There's a lot of things that you want to do before the end of the year. Like yesterday, I said I got to stop putting it off. I raked the leaves, even though I know there's going to be another wind gust, and before you know, there's going to be more leaves. But I figured I'd get it done with yesterday. There's a lot of things that you can do now to start 2026 fresh and organized. It's time to address the things in your home that you've been ignoring. Have you been ignoring any drywall cracks, cracked bricks, floor and wall gaps, uneven floors, sticking windows and doors, bowed walls? Well, Groundworks knows that all these signs point to major damage building up in your foundation, and they're only going to get worse. So instead of knowing that 2026 could get off to a rocky start, and I'm talking about your house actually rocking if you're about to have wall failure, don't worry. Free foundation inspection from Groundworks, and the team's experts will identify your home's issues at the source. Now, you want to get ahead of these problems sooner rather than later. Just visit groundworks.com today, book your free inspection, and you'll get a no-obligation quote included. You do all that is free. It's just the job itself you're paying for. So have Groundworks come out, tell you exactly what's going on and how they're going to fix it. Groundworks, there's a reason why. They're the trusted local experts.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles trying to figure out the offense. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds getting ready for their Sunday night matchup with the Lions at the Link. And with that preparation comes a lot of conversation and questions about the offense and the issues on that side of the ball that we've seen throughout this year. A.J. Brown has been vocal about the offensive shortcomings. So Nick Sirianni talked about whether or not his comments, A.J. Brown's that is, have been a distraction to the team.
No, I don't think so. Again, you can only go from your interactions with everybody and the way they go about their work on a daily basis that you guys aren't able to see. But it's business as usual.
So it sounds like the team is indeed focused on business as usual, and that business is trying to figure out how the offense will look Sunday night against Detroit. Eagles coordinators meet with media today. Flyers fell to the Oilers 2-1 in overtime last night. Flyers almost had a game-winning goal in the final minute of regulation, but it was waved off due to an offsides call on Owen Tippett. They're going to be back in action tomorrow. Sixers play the Pistons on the road in Detroit tomorrow night. Major League Baseball handed out some awards yesterday. Paul Skeens won National League Cy Young. Phillies' Christopher Sanchez finished in second place in the voting. Rob Thompson finished third place in the National League Manager of the Year voting. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you'll find everything you need for the holidays, all for under $35. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We got our man Andrew DeCecco here in studio. So, a lot of talk about the Eagles' offense, obviously. A lot of it. And there is something to point to about the opponent that you play this Sunday in the Detroit Lions. And it's that Dan Campbell said, all right, I don't like the way things are going, so I'm going to take over play calling duties. And I understand, Andrew, we brought this up earlier and you mentioned it. Nick already tried that in the beginning of his tenure, and it didn't go well.
Well, he did the first 7 games of his tenure.
Right. And
it
didn't go well. So I guess like one question is, and I understand that it's not all on Patullo or the mindset of Nick Sirianni and, you name it. There's a million things. I get it. Collaborative. If it does seem like it is, I don't want to say hurting the team, but hampering them a little bit, is there any way where they would try to find the ways to do things differently? Because we all agree they have to do things differently, right?
Yes.
We all agree. Whether
I think Andrew's been harping on that this morning.
Whether it's going into the game or during the game, it has to look differently. So is there anything that, and I'm not saying Scott Loeffler, right? Like Leffler, thank you. I'm not saying that, but like,
I might.
Is there any point where Nick Sirianni could say, "All right, I'll handle this drive," or something like that, or do you have no faith in that?
I mean, I think what you're failing to latch onto here is that philosophically, this is the way that Nick Sirianni wants to play football.
Right.
These are his ideologies. This is what he believes in with considerable conviction, to play risk-averse football, protect it, and make calculated decisions and don't push the envelope. That's not going to change. Changing a play caller, for example, isn't going to do anything. There is a lot of issues that they need to rectify before that even becomes anything that would even make sense. That would just be, unfathomable. And by the way, nothing's changing with Patullo.
No, I understand that. But would it behoove the Eagles to, I understand they won the Super Bowl, so they did not have much time to do so. But, Patullo might listen a lot more to Nick, whereas like a guy like Kellen Moore, it was still Sirianni's ideologies, but Kellen Moore had more, I would say, more say in game.
I mean, Kevin Patullo was also heavy-handed in the involvement of Kellen Moore's game plan. That helped prepare him for this role. And they also had the running game last season to bail them out. But I think what a lot of people are losing sight of is that the offense, you take the running game away, and the passing aspect of it looked eerily similar to what you're seeing right now. In terms of route concepts, their conservative approach, that stems from Nick Sirianni. That's what he wants to do. So that's the way that it's going to operate as long as Nick Sirianni's the head coach and Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. They're going to prioritize wins and ball security over trying to push the envelope and do some things that maybe go outside their conventional wisdom.
In one game of Dan Campbell calling plays, it's against a pathetic defense. Washington's defense is horrendous. It may be the worst in the NFL. I mean, with the most 20-point losses I believe they've got. 57.4% of the plays in motion, which is immediately he installed motion into play calling, which wasn't being done. And it's amazing with all the athletes they have in Detroit. 57% of the play calls. The highest rate of play action that they've had since he last called plays, and under center. They were under center. He immediately said, let's get back under center and stop doing everything out of the shotgun. So he comes in and he's just like, fundamentally, let's change things. The only thing I would say to is that he did say that his offensive coordinator, who he took the play calling from, who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, he did say that he was
John Morton.
John Morton. He was running the offense I wanted him to run. In theory.
Yeah, look, it's the feel. It's the getting the playing quick enough. Like that's another
right. They were having problems with that. Now I haven't seen that with Jalen at all. And early in the year, there were a few times where they were talking about where Jalen was given come on, get the play call in.
Well, I
I
mean, for a while,
I haven't seen it at all.
For a while this season, and they still may be, they were dead last in the NFL at getting to the line of scrimmage. And they were second to last, or at least bottom 3 last season as well.
Right.
Which is Kellen Moore.
Yes, which is why it's perplexing to me that the fingers go back to pointing at Kevin Patullo for all of the offensive deficiencies. And believe me, guys, I'm not absolving him for anything. I've said many times that the play calling needs to be better. The sequencing, play calling is an art. It's not a science. And I think he's becoming more comfortable in that realm. And the players believe in him. I mean, I've talked to enough that can tell you that they believe in Kevin Patullo and how he approaches the offense.
All right, joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. And every Thursday is a big day in business in the sports handicapping world. You got to give the number 1-800-885-2525 a call. That would connect you with Michael Westwood and the team of GBIWins.com. Again, 1-800-885-2525. We got a big spread tonight. My book has New England 12.5-point favorites against the New York Jets. And joining us now to talk about it, our man Michael Westwood. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, Johnny. What's up?
I hate
these. Well. I was just listening.
I hate these games, Michael. I hate these 12.5-point games.
Forget the total. The total's just a number. But I want to go back on something. You guys brought up a good point. Play calling is so important in the NFL. It keeps the momentum going. I totally agree with what you're saying. But everything goes to the coach. Everything's blamed on the coach and this and that, which I don't agree with. But it is what it is. Play calling is definitely important. So back to the game tonight. Obviously, this evening, I'll be at Gillette Stadium. Why? I have no idea. I've got three of my strongest clients who wanted to go to this game. They're New Yorkers. We're traveling all the way up to New England to watch this game. Jets playing New England. But you want to know something? The line's 12.5 points. I think the over-under as we speak right now is 43.5. Don't let lines interfere with what you're playing, okay? I mean, I have friends that are diehard Jet fans. They will never, ever bet against the Jets, which is insane. Just like, I hate to say it, Philadelphia fans will never bet against Philadelphia. And thank God, Monday night that just passed was my Monday night game of the year, and you saw what happened. We used, obviously, the Birds, winner, and we used the under, which was a winner. So my point to you is this, okay? There's been so much ups and downs in the NFL this year, okay? The general public who are wagering on these games are getting hammered, destroyed. It's coming into Week 11, and if anybody says they've made real money so far, they're lying to you, all right? I've got tremendous information on this Jet New England game tonight, and I am going to release it just to prove a point, absolutely free on my free recorded hotline. All you have to do is dial 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. As always, you'll be connected to my free recorded hotline where you're going to get tonight's winner absolutely free. And, guys, I'm going to go one step further. The first 150 callers who call my hotline right now at 1-800-885-2525, they're also going to get the winner of the over-under absolutely free and on me.
So, Michael, you keep on mentioning the books winning this year. Is it more so just the infrequent, style of play that's going on around the NFL, or is it more so the people that are trying to build all these parlays with all these ridiculous odds? Like, what's been your read on this situation?
You know what? A little bit of both. I mean, these people who are playing the 10-legged parlays and the reverses and the props. I mean, these books are making so much money. I mean, even if you're betting $5 or $10, there's millions and millions and millions of people who are betting and losing. So what I'm saying to you is that this is a year that is way upside down, okay? The teams that are supposed to be winning in the NFL and covering are not doing that. I mean, the percentage is probably about 32%. So what we do is we take the percentage out of it, and instead of fighting with the bookies, we're going to jump on the same side as the bookies. We're against we're against the grain, okay? Sorry about that. But the bottom line is that tonight will prove to your listeners what I am all about and what winning is all about. It's Week 11 right now, guys. Throw the white flag up. Let me make you money. Let's start making money together. Dial 1-800-885-2525. That's 1-800-885-2525. And again, it's on my free recorded hotline.
Listen, it just shows how passionate you are about the business,
I use
man.
the F-bomb.
It's all right.
Why'd I do that?
It slips every once in a while. Don't you worry.
You guys put the ugliness out in me. I don't speak like that.
Michael, can I just ask you one thing? Is 65% against the spread at this point in the year, 40 picks in, really, really good? Because that's
listen,
that's
the
what
way
I'm
it's been
doing.
going
That's what
right
I'm
now-
doing with my weekly picks.
Listen, if you're hitting 65% right now, and I believe you're not lying to me.
No,
you're
it's all
probably one
documented
of
on the show.
You're probably in the 99%. You know, the 1% that is winning this year. Okay, but right now our percentage is a lot higher than that. I don't
know
into
that.
numbers because nobody believes me when I tell them what my percentages are. But listen, if you're hitting 65%, you're doing a great job.
Maybe you should
Again,
hire John
guess
Kincade
what?
at GBIWins.com.
I'm still behind. I'm still behind GBI Wins.
When you get into the 80 percentile, like I am right now, when it comes to games like this, then
There
you
it
know
is.
what? You should be paying me, brother.
He's allowed to do that.
Damn
yes,
right.
he's
Michael,
allowed to have
listen, man,
hands.
we appreciate the number 1-800-885-2525, 1-800-885-2525. And you got the free record hotline for tonight's game between the Patriots and the Jets. And the first 150 callers will get the total as well. We appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks
buddy.
again. I'll talk to you soon.
There he is,
See ya.
Michael Westwood on the Comcast Business Hotline.
He's effing passionate.
All right, coming up next, we've had the conversation about statement wins in the past. What could a win do for the Eagles on Sunday? And I'm not talking about winning by 30. I'm just saying a win, period. We discuss that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Fanatic. Your thoughts on raisins in food?
Don't like it.
I'm in.
I like Raisinets.
I like an oatmeal raisin cookie.
A raisin on its own. I do not want raisins.
There's raisin debate going on our YouTube chat.
I like Raisinets. See if the chat likes Raisinets. That's an old school candy.
All right. Do you like Raisinets? Yes or no? YouTube chat. Please chime in. I'll get back to you when I have the information.
A good movie treat.
Yeah.
Is a Raisinette.
You remember, Andrew, you grew up in the Roxborough, the Manayunk area. I know you're a Jersey guy, but I
spent 7 years there, yeah.
Do you remember next to the Free Library in Andorra, there was like a movie theater that was in the corner? I think it's now an LA Fitness.
It's not there anymore, but yeah, it's an LA
I used to go there so many times as I was a kid. I think I even saw Toy Story there. I went
Did
there
you really?
with my grandparents, and I used to get Raisinets all the time.
By the way, I asked them this question. I need you to get on the record. Toy Story 5, they put out the teaser 2 days ago.
I didn't even know they made Toy Story 3.
Thank you.
There we go.
Toy Story 5. So at the end of Toy Story 4, Woody stayed at a circus. He never went back home. Like he wanted a new life. Toy Story 5 teaser comes out. He's there. How's he back? And it's not Toy Story 5, let's go find our pal Woody. It's Toy Story 5, the iPads are taking over the world, which I think is a great concept of a Pixar film. But how does he get back? Get on the record now.
Who knows? He lost me when you started talking about Woody and time travel or whatever else you were talking about.
Oh, man.
I'm worried about
these are important questions.
I'm worried about Eagles Lions and the matchups there. I'm not worried about Toy Story 5 when I didn't even know they made a third one.
There you go.
They got 3 and 4, brother.
Wow.
All right. How much would a win for the Eagles do this Sunday? And to beat the Detroit Lions, they're going to have to put up points, right? Like they're not going to win 10-7 against the Lions. So how much would a win mean for the Eagles on Sunday? Is it a business as usual? Oh, well, we always win 7-2. We're defending Super Bowl champions. Or do you think a win Sunday against the Lions where you would probably have to get A.J. Brown involved, do you think that changes things? Not locally fan base. I'm talking about for the team. Like, does that uplift people a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. You look at the quality of the opponent and what they've been able to do over the last couple of seasons. They've established a lot of success. And to be able to win, and again, you don't want to tie it to style points, but they have to be able to manufacture points and not look lethargic moving down the field. Defense, I have no questions about. They've been playing lights out, and I think they're going to continue to get better, especially from a pass rush standpoint. But yeah, I think that game would do a lot it's a measuring stick type of game. And if you're able to win and rectify some of those issues, yeah, you should be able to keep it rolling from there.
I think it's number 1 seed. I will come in Monday. Remember last year when the Monday night game against the Ravens? We won. The Sunday night game. We won the Sunday night game, and I came in, and what did we do? We made reservations for GW Finns.
Okay.
That was a defining win in that season.
It was the win that just said to me, this team's going to the Super Bowl. And I really believed it. I will declare the 1 seed over if they win Sunday night. The 1 seed's done. They will be the 1 seed. Looking at everybody else's, Nerd Boy was real. Young and the Restless was a little boring yesterday, so I was going over schedules. They win this one on Sunday. I will guarantee with a G that they're the 1 seed. No sitting on a fence. So Bill Colarulo, if you're listening, my behind's not on a fence. They win Sunday. They're the 1 seed, guaranteed.
Oh.
It's not. No one else is catching them.
How do you feel? Guarantee 1 seed if the Eagles.
I don't guarantee anything. I don't guarantee anything. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, he's in a different role.
Yeah.
He doesn't. But he didn't. I can see when I say things to Mr. DiCecco that he finds scoff-worthy. You can read him like a Chinese menu. You can just see it. You see it there. I didn't see you scoff. I didn't see him scoff.
That's good.
Didn't see him scoff at it.
Yeah, no scoffing. I understand your logic and
that's crazy. You say that.
I respect your opinion. But I've always been one to take a measured approach and allow things to play out. But
Sure.
yes, that would certainly put them on that track.
By the way, majority of people anti-Raisinette on the YouTube chat.
Oh, boy.
One response so far as going as far as saying Raisinets are for 6-year-olds.
Oh, well, I guess
they're
call
great.
me. Yeah, then I guess I'm a child.
Great at a movie. They're great at it.
Yeah, so is ketchup, all right?
Yes, ketchup. Right?
6-year-olds have a pretty nice life.
I like ketchup. Ketchup's good.
I would go back to 6.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Mr. Thomas?
All right, we have a bunch of people checking in on our Eagles conversation today. Nothing on Raisinets. Sorry, Andrew. But this texter checks in.
Well, you wait. Those texts will come in.
John V says, I love everything that A.J. Brown said in his defense of his comments. In my opinion, he basically said he's not being schemed open. Other top wide receivers are being double covered, and they're being schemed open. He also said it's not always Jalen's fault. He's got a lot on his plate. He's just frustrated that he's not contributing to wins and feels that the offense could be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I've said.
So who's his issue with? Who is his issue with? Because he's subtweeting. This is just like subtweeting.
He didn't tweet this one.
No, I'm saying it.
Somebody
but it's,
recorded.
No, but it's like,
I don't know how
understand.
Twitch works.
But
Somebody recorded him saying
No,
that.
I got you. But he did.
And decided to put it out there for
Well,
clicks and social media propaganda.
Well, tens of thousands of people follow this guy. So
well, who recorded it? He recorded it.
It's
no,
live.
It's you can find it.
It's live. I don't know. I don't know anything about Twitch.
No, it's live, and then somebody heard it and then clipped it. But
somebody heard it and clipped it.
But he knows.
He knows it's going to be.
He knows
these things.
He knows streaming. Like he knows he's on with his buddy who's a streamer, right? So it's not like somebody had a bug.
No, I get that. I have no idea how Twitch works, whether or not it lives online after you do it.
And it does.
Yeah.
And if you follow that person, you can go back and watch it.
Oh.
But the thing is, you can't say, I was just talking to my friend.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Sure,
well,
you can. You're making light of a situation. I go back to what I said last week, John. Everybody handles things and processes things differently. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I know you want it to be. I know you want a uniform response, but that's not the world that we live in.
How about I want it to be after it's incident after incident after incident after incident? I want at some point to you to realize this is counterproductive.
He's trying to get a point through to his team to elevate their performance so that it doesn't come back and burn them in a critical moment. And then everyone's going to start to say, oh, yeah, I guess he was right. I guess he had a point.
Then who is he speaking to that he doesn't feel is listening?
I've mentioned before that there are a lot of components to the offense. There's the head coach, there's the OC, there's the quarterback, there's the route concepts. There's so many things. I know you guys want me to point the finger at somebody and try to decipher who he's talking to.
Well, he is pointing the finger at somebody.
He's looking at it as a collective. The offense is not performing to standard. I will not sit here and identify who he's trying to talk to talk about because that's not. I'm not here to speculate.
I got it. Well,
it's the frustration with the offense in its totality, and I agree with them.
When he is saying, though, that we can't keep saying that it's all okay and it'll get worked out, he's the one saying, somebody's saying that. He's speaking to them. But
everyone's saying it, even on social media. Well, they won.
But instead of just saying it, they're doing these subtexting. They're doing this whisper down the lane instead of just handling it.
He handled it as he was as forthcoming as you could expect. I respect the way that he stood there and answered those questions. He didn't hide from it. He stood on business. That's exact. So when you don't like the subtweeting, but you're now taking issue with him being forthcoming and honest.
If he's being forthcoming and honest, say what you mean.
He did say what he meant yesterday.
But who is he speaking to that's not listening to him?
He doesn't need to say who he was talking about. It's the offense. The offense as a whole is not performing to the standards that they set. They have to play to their standard, and he's trying to get out in front of it, as I've said 7 times this morning, to make sure that doesn't burn him down the line.
He keeps saying, though, and he said it again yesterday, we can't keep saying that things are going to be okay, that it's going to get worked out. He said that multiple times. So he's saying somebody is saying that. Who is he speaking to? Is he saying, Coach, we can't be saying that anymore. These coaches can't be saying it anymore. He's taking it to a point, but then he's not taking it to a point. Because I think if he dealt with it once and ripped off the Band-Aid, this thing would be over.
I don't know what to tell you, John. I'll let your imagination run wild. I've exhausted this topic. I'm not going to speculate.
Well, okay. All right. Let me ask you this.
Somebody's saying it.
Let me ask you this. When it comes to the collaborative, when it comes to this A.J. Brown stuff, is it as simple as when they script out the opening drive, we are going to run 3 hot routes for A.J. Brown? Or can that happen at some point during the game? I understand it's then harder for, Jalen's going to have to still read the defense. So if it's not there, it's not there. But is there a simplistic way to get him the ball, in your opinion? As simplistic as you possibly can be in the NFL?
Slant route. I mean, it's uncoverable for defensive backs.
So why isn't it being run? Is it Jalen's uncomfortable throwing it?
It's not that he's not running the slant routes. You don't know, and I don't know what the progressions are. So I think it's irresponsible to assume that, Jalen's not seeing them or the routes aren't being run, because they are being run. And there's certain processes that he has to go through with each and every play, and they have to make it more of a focal point. I've said that ad nauseum. I don't think anyone would dispute that. And I believe in a game against the Detroit Lions where you need to be at your best, you got to get the ball to your top playmaker at the receiver position.
It's frustrating that September, October, November, though, we're having the same conversations. And you're frustrated with it. But we're having the same conversations. But we're having the same conversations because they can't get their crap together.
Because
they can't work.
figure
September,
an
October,
answer
November.
either.
They can't give us an answer, and they can't figure out how. Would Sean McVay, would Kyle Shanahan, would any of these guys have a problem with all this personnel getting them the ball?
So I would say, I go back to what I said earlier. This is the offense that they're going to run under Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. This is philosophically is what he believes in, and that's the way that it's going to be.
FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning made a donation to the AACR, the American Association for Cancer Research, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
Got Birds Buzz today.
Podcast.
Yeah, I'm not going to be talking about that.
Sunday
I'm going to be
morning.
talking about the Eagles-Lions.
Sunday, when you're driving to the stadium, I'm telling you, download the podcast, listen to it as a pregame.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Middays with Marks comes your way
Leave a
next.
5-star review.
Oh, that would be nice. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Amy Fadul here. Is Johnny off? Oh, Johnny's off today. So it's Ray and Amy.
There it is.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports.